and have this up and accessible when I need it.
Which section would the Casimir Manor be?
I'm sorry, say what now?
Which section would the Casimir Manor be in?
I believe. Let me just make sure before I say something. I believe it's Manorborn.
Makes sense.
Upper city, lower city. Okay, let's see. Manorborn. Manorborn was one of the 4 districts that composed the upper city of Baldur's Gate. The western district of the Gate's Old Town housed the oldest and wealthiest of. Really? Shut out my face.
So yeah, that
Oldest
makes
and
sense.
wealthiest of its patriarch families, those who considered themselves the rightful rulers of Baldrin's namesake. Along with the richest members of the Baldrin patriarch, nearly every member of the Parliament of Peers kept a home in Manorborn. Among these were estates of the Belt, Durnenbold, Elfen, Oberon, Fasharar, and Shattersealed families among them. The other wealthy district that is in Lower City, just next to it, Bloomridge, was a wealthy district within the Lower City of Baldur's Gate, located on the western half of Grey Harbor, south of the Old Wall. It was home to the wealthier citizens of the Lower City, the merchants, landowners, and sea captains who sought a lifestyle that more closely resembled that of the wealthy patriarch of the Upper City. By great feats of engineering, both structural and arcane, Bloomridge was partially built into the old wall that separated the upper and lower cities. District was highlighted by the grand manor houses that, on occasion, took up entire city blocks of Bloomridge. Between these palatial estates were cafes, restaurants, and boutique shops that were connected by a series of open-air sweeping staircases that descended to street-level hanging gardens. Yeah, so pretty much, your two richy kind of districts are Bloomridge and Manorborn. Difference is Manorborn's like the old money crowd, and Bloomridge is like the new money crowd. Because Bloomridge is like the merchants and sea captains who got really wealthy, and then like Manorborn are the motherfuckers of like nobility who have passed their wealth and titles down from generation to generation to generation to generation since the founding of the city. At what point the Casimir family came into that history? You guys don't know. You never asked. You just know she's been around here for a long damn time, or at least the Casimir name has been around for a long time. You don't know how long Sophia herself has been around. You don't know how long she's been a vampire. At least a few centuries. And all that information I got off of the Forgotten Realms wiki fandom, which I can link to everybody in just a second. There you guys go. That's where I'm getting my information about Baldur's Gate from. That and a few things I picked up while running around in the video game. Which, hilarious enough, a lot of that information is on the wiki. Apparently, Baldur's Gate 3 is considered canon in the setting. Because it's on the wiki. Because there's one of the things I was reading the other day mentioned the Tsar family and specifically called out the Cazador, since he is the currently only remaining surviving member of the Tsar family. The Tsar family was like fucking massacred like some number of years ago, back when they were a influential family over in Tumbledown, before Tumbledown became haunted and cursed after they were murdered. And after the whole family was murdered, their place was burnt to the ground, and now they're like ghosts haunt the area, and it's used as like a cheaper alternative for burial.
Nice.
Yeah. I was reading about it because Daniel mentioned Tumbledown being a possible location for the people that he was looking for, and so I looked into it deeper, and it's like nobody lives there. Nobody lives there. The only people that hang out there are the Grave Makers, which is an organization whose job is who are dedicated to protecting and safeguarding tombs, crypts, and graves from like grave robbers and necromancers and stuff like that. And they also happen across the occasional undead that wanders around in Tumbledown or shows up, and they take care of that problem before it gets to be a larger issue and they get loosed into like populated areas. Because there's only one way to get in and out of Tumbledown, and you have to go, and that's through Brampton. Because the rest of the sides are high cliffs or mountains and whatnot around it. Because it's like up against the mountain and it's like wedged up against the mountain and between the cliffs. There's not a lot of areas of egress to and from it.
So I just looked up 3 old kegs. I'm just like looking at the services provided, and I just can't help but laugh at the last one.
Oh, what's the last one?
Let's just start simple. It's like, rooms for rent, meals, bathing, laundry, stabling, corpse disposal.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to get rid of a corpse. 3 Old Kegs, if I'm not mistaken, is a popular place for like retired Flaming Fists to spend their twilight days, and they like take out like permanent residence in those areas. So like they provide the service of, hey, if somebody dies here, we'll take care of the corpse. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that one just seemed out there.
Plus, like, occasionally like someone's got to hide a body after a unfortunate night. The usual.
Yes. An argument that didn't quite go well.
Why am I picturing a hooker that is actually an assassin and murders someone?
Let's go ahead and start that ambience. When we last left our adventurers, I won't say heroes because they're not really heroes. Well, actually, hold on. Before I get started, I'm actually going to get some water because I just realized I have none. I'll be right back.
Everyone is the hero of their own story.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Every villain's the hero of their own story. Meanwhile, I'm enjoying some nice rainfall where I live.
I'm expecting thunderstorms later today.
Like meteorologists said, we're going to once again have a nice snowy winter. That whether it's saying snow or oh my god, why there's a blizzard snow. Well, I guess that's up to the Lord above.
Yeah.
I return.
Welcome back.
Lest our adventurers, you all had escaped from being falsely accused of a crime or just inconvenienced by the legal justice system. Which, thanks to a old friend, or rather, at least someone you've met once prior before, Lady Hellgate, who runs the Hellgate and Associates law firm in Hell, came up, got you out of there, made some like power move threats, and left you in the care of the Duchess's knight of the Endless Watch. Yeah.
Yep.
Left you in his care, who then escorted you back to the manor upon which you were getting to around the ballpark of late afternoon to early evening, just before the sun started going down within the next hour or so, leaving you guys time to run around the manor and do whatever it is that your hearts desires. Then move you to the Casimir. Wrong vampire. Cazador is a tool. Casimir, much more impressive. Or at the very least, more friendly. I saw that guy. I was like, really? This is the guy who's tormented these people all these years? This fucking dude? This fucking pansy little prick?
Possible.
I was not impressed by Cazador. He had a very punchable face, and he sounded like a very whiny bitch. But anyway, you are fully allowed and free to explore the manor across anywhere, with the exception of any doors that are, of course, locked, which you can discover over time. There are some areas you have not had access to. It is a 2-story building. If you guys need to progress from one floor to the other, let me know. Because of the way I have the map set up, is there's no physical way for there's no way for me to create a 3-dimensional space for you guys to go. So, because it's all technically one image, so like the top floor and the bottom floor are like right next to each other, and I have like light barriers separating them, so you guys don't actually see the part of the floor that you shouldn't be able to see by accident by looking out the window. You go, I'm gonna look out the window, and somehow I can see the bedroom upstairs. It's supposed to be above me.
I'm just exploring this. I'm just exploring the house, but obviously I can't close the doors. Even I'm not that. Even I'm not that of a jackass, but still getting used to the new system. Oh, never mind. I could just do this anyway. I'll just explore the manor because, well, I want to talk to a couple. I want to talk to, well, at least a couple of people. Like, I think that was I think that was a setup in my mind. But I'm trying to,
So
but right now I'm trying
when
to
you
walk off.
arrived, you were informed that one of your companions, Dr. Ice, was upstairs and he wanted to talk to you, as
Oh,
well as Arcanist decided to go and
oh right,
take a bath or
all
something. I
right,
don't remember.
all right.
I did talk to Dr. Ice.
All right. Let me
Oh, you
go.
did talk to him? Oh,
He's
I
talking.
forgot.
He took some shots and got drunk, and now he's in bed.
Right, you already talked to Ice, right? And then you went and took a bath and left Ice in his drunken
again.
stupor in his room. It was just like, we're just gonna leave you here. And he's just like, ah,
I put him in bed and left him.
right. Meanwhile, on the other side of the situation, Daniel's character, Melak Creed. You, when we last left your character off, you were in a safe house of the Kraken Society trying to determine where your current enemies are, or rather the agents of your enemies, because you are not directly engaging the Aboleth hegemony at the moment. You're engaging their power structure and their agents that are loose in the city, who have already made one attempt on your lives. Which will result in essentially a kind of mini game for you, where you get to move resources around and personnel around and do investigations and try and figure out where they are. So I'll be cutting back and forth between the two of you. So for Daniel, I will move his view back to the map so he can look at it. So he can plot out where he thinks might be good places to look. As a member of the Kraken Society, while inside the safe house, you have full access to any kind of information about Baldur's Gate. If there's anything that you wish to know, let me know. You can also browse through the wiki at your leisure, Daniel. And that will include secret information. Most of you will have like general knowledge of Baldur's Gate because it is a famous city on the Sword Coast. Daniel, you'll have all information pertaining to Baldur's Gate, including secret information that normally you won't have due to your connection to the Kraken Society. And as a Baldurian, not because of the Baldurin, they don't call themselves that, a Baldurian, Ty, your character will have certain local knowledge as well. Like local history and information about the area, more so than the other two members of your party.
I about to say, wait, I have some knowledge being a former member of the Flaming Fist, but
Yeah, you used to live here. This is where you're from.
yeah.
So like you know like local knowledge and history about it. Jimpan knows like offhand information about it. Like, you know, he knows about as much about his character knows about as much about Baldur's Gate as Jimpan himself would know about like England. I assume you've never been to England. Yeah, so
I've been
like, we know
half there.
like it's not a mystery to us, but it's like one of those things where you don't know everything about it. Dr. Ice, you don't know shit about Baldur's Gate because you're from the fucking jungle of Chult.
Yep. It exists on a map. That's as far as he knows.
It's a city that you are currently standing in. That's about all you know.
It's like Curie with Australia. Huh? All I know is it's on a map, and it's very well interesting.
And everything there
It's
wants
somewhere
to kill
over
you.
there.
And everything there wants to kill you.
So I'll allow you guys to run your various scenes that you wanted to do. Ty, you said you wanted to talk to somebody?
Yeah, I'm going to go up to Dr. Ice as well. And it's like, hey, Ice, what's up? All right,
Move you
just sleeping.
to his door. That's his door right there. See one of the Death Knights standing in the hallway just...
As soon as I can find me. Like, all right, you're sleeping. Jeez.
And you see like
you see a few empty glasses of alcohol nearby, or like an empty like glass with what appears to be alcohol in it.
I like, of course, he's going to be a lightweight. Well, I'll just take a nap. I'll just take a nap for a half hour. I'll just take a nap for a couple of minutes until the Duchess wakes up. But then hopefully Ice is out off his drunken stupor. So it'd probably be a good idea to warn him as well.
probably would be.
So yeah, obviously since Dr. Ice is asleep, I'm just going to take a quick nap until the Duchess wakes up.
Okie dokies. Your room was near the... Looking at it from this orientation, it would be the southeast corner of the manor. So back down the hallway to your south, where that open door is, and straight across to the west.
Oh, hello. How are you doing?
Good evening, Captain. I am simply finalizing some ledgers, filling out some ledgers and other various bookkeeping.
That's good to know. how long have we been doing this now?
Say what?
I
What
was
was
like,
that
how
question?
long? I was like, how long as how long she been doing this? Like years, months,
Oh, how long
days.
she's worked here? She says that I have been employed by the Casimir. I keep making that mistake now today. The Casimir family and Her Grace the Duchess for. She kind of thinks for a moment. And she goes for about 30 years.
Ah, ah, you look good for someone who's almost, I assume, older than me.
Oh, I'm very certain we elves live for quite some time.
Oh, right, Journals. I'm sorry. I do
Yeah,
apologize.
this is Cecilia. This is the woman you're talking to right now.
But this is the first time I've seen her blown up, so I'll just say he didn't. He did. She didn't see. I just say that Turk didn't see the ears until she informed him
Well,
that
she does
she's
have like the
around.
little maid cap. You could have been hidden. It's also kind of dark in this manor. They don't have a lot of good lights in it.
Uh, but like I said, I do apologize. Did. I do apologize. I didn't think you were an elf.
It's quite all right. I'm usually awake more during. I usually handle some of our lighter duties during the day, while the others take a rest partway through the day.
Well, I want. I don't want. I don't want to
Staff
get.
generally stays up most of the night to attend to Her Grace and her family, and spends the early part of the morning cleaning and taking care of things after they've already gone for their rest, and generally rest towards the afternoon unless something comes up.
Yeah, that was one crazy family reunion a couple days ago. Night last
Yeah,
night.
that generally things aren't that exciting here. The well, perhaps I shouldn't say this, but the youngest male heir of the youngest male Casimir has gone into a more rebellious phase, one should say,
Uh,
and seems to uh, not wish to remain as in his current state,
uh,
and apparently has been talking or dealing with those that are less than savory.
uh, whether it's orcs or in my case, a half orc, dwarves, vampires, elves,
Well,
whatever.
obviously he made some kind of pact with something and became a rohan,
Uh,
as I'm sure you noticed.
that's the part that concerns. Well, the second thing that concerns me. The first thing, of course, is what happened. What happened earlier today between
Ah,
with
yes,
me and my
the
first mate.
incident that got you unfortunately detained.
Yeah, that's the
Yes, when
thing.
you mentioned that.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
the thing that concerns me. Cause I've
I
been.
unfortunately do not have any knowledge of the event other than the bare basics of what occurred.
Uh,
So I unfortunately cannot help you. However, Her Grace will most likely be able to give you a better, greater help once she is arisen.
of course, I would, and I would definitely appreciate her help. Just since it seems like we were sucked into the fight, we didn't go into guns blazing to be fair, or
That
nor
is
were
most
we
wise. Starting
looking
fights
for
in the middle of
trouble.
the city is generally not a good idea.
No, even
Between the Watch and the Flaming Fist, order is kept very well here.
from someone who used to live here. Trust me, I know.
Indeed. Is there anything I can get you, dear sir?
Uh, just some, just some, just some water. While Just don't worry, I'm going to take a nap till Her Grace awakens.
Of course, I shall fetch you a pitcher of water and a glass.
Thank you very much. And I'll go to my room.
Ah, why would the wall?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was my room.
Oh, I went through the wall. I was moving her to the stairs. I actually shifted her through the wall, so she like just ghosted through a wall. Just like I'll be right there. Wall.
She gets this a secret door. You could easily just wait that way as that.
About a couple minutes later, she comes back and places a pitcher of water with a glass on your nightstand there, and then quietly exits.
Bow and take some water and,
Bloop.
like I said, take a nap for a couple minutes until the Duchess awakens. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I heard you. I was just looking at something real quick. Sorry. Yeah. With that, let's go ahead and cut over to our good friend Daniel. Go ahead and move everybody's view over here, just for fun. So it seems like two people are napping and one's taking a bath with the intention of maybe taking a nap, depending on how much time she spends in the bathtub. In the winter, they take forever. But jokes aside, let's go over to Daniel. Good sir Daniel. How you doing, Daniel? Or specifically, cutting over to Creed as I check my ambience here and switch ambience to, let's see, what do I want? Where is it? Let's use this ambience for right this second. It's not exactly the right one, but I don't have the specific one I want at the moment. Let's see, I can quickly come across what I'm looking for. This one. That's it's an ad. If you not play the ad and just play the ambience for me real fast, you little fucker. Or ads. That's music. I was looking for ambience. Yeah. He's streaming something. Oh. Oh, he closed it. Oh, he played it again.
Okay, we see where you're all, Daniel. And we see the map moving.
Daniel, is your mic working?
Are you being held up by the baby? Not yes for not
Oh,
not
can
yes.
you hear me now?
Okay.
Yep, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes. I don't know why it wasn't going.
I thought
Oh,
you
did you not realize you've been muted this whole time?
I
Oh,
was
shit.
not muted. I actually double checked. I was not muted.
I thought your baby just took you hostage for some reason.
No, my baby hasn't been here for over 25 minutes.
Obviously, he had a mechanical malfunction with his audio settings, it seems.
Apparently so.
Or sometimes like me accidentally hitting the wrong push to talk button.
I don't have push to talk. Mine's auto do. So.
Yeah. That's not what I'm looking for. Fuck it.
Okay.
We'll just stick with the Back Alley Tavern ambience for right now.
There we go.
But it seems that you have like some kind of like a file issue with your character portrait on your character sheet because it's got the page break icon or file break on it instead of where your picture usually is.
Don't know.
It's weird. Have you tried editing it and re-uploading the image?
I did while y'all were taking a bath.
Oh, huh. That's weird. It should have worked. Usually works for me.
Usually does, but come back to me while I figure out what's going on. Maybe I'll be right back.
Okie dokies. Actually, wait, no, hold on.
I'll be right back. Bathroom calls.
Okie dokies. It'll take me a hot second to do some arrangements real quick. Stuff. There. Plug you up here.
Or even their contribution to Wano that makes it
There we go. All right. As evening begins to come to fruition, as it starts to enter into full evening, Each of you are in your rooms that have been provided to you by your host. And what am I looking for? I had a word and suddenly it's lost my mind. Each of you hears a small knock at your door. As I flip to the night version of the map. I made 2 copies of this map. That's right. I'm that guy. And each of you who, as you answer the door, are greeted by one of the various servant staff, and they inform you that Her Grace wishes for you to come and dine with her and her family, and as well as to hear some business that she wishes to discuss with you.
Okay.
And then they will, step aside and let you go on about your thing. Each of them does stay behind, and you see them go into your rooms and start like tidying things up, putting new clean sheets on your beds and stuff like that. Yeah.
In order to overcome my blindness, I'm going to take a candle with me.
The Alice that's with you offers to provide you a candle. She has a spare.
And
As I pull up your thing, here it goes. Emits light. Here we go. The candles are 5 feet of bright and 5 feet of dim. Save settings. You now emit 5 feet of bright light and 5 feet of dim light.
I thank Alice for the candle. Thank you for the candle.
Awesome. Now I'm gonna switch my preview view to you, just to see what horrible blindness you have.
I can now only just see the Death Knight in the dim.
Yeah, as you go walk into the hallway, you see like just this shadowy silhouette of an armored figure, and you hear the clink of his metal plate armor as he turns towards you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Have my companions left their rooms yet? Or are they still in their rooms?
They are all heading towards the downstairs. As Arkansas, as you feel a pair of hands immediately just clap down onto your shoulders from behind you. Funk.
Ice does everything in his power to not jump.
Only.
And to not squeak.
What check would this be? What check would this be? For fun. Only con save. Let's make it a con save. I see no problem here. You successfully avoid squealing. You clamp down on the squeal before it leaves your beak. As you turn and you see Arkansas Foreign standing there in the candlelight.
Okay.
Who, unlike you, can see perfectly fine here.
Need to weigh Arcanist? I hold out my hand so that just to make sure we don't get too separated.
So just shut the door in your face. Thunk. It's dark in here.
And go downstairs.
Wait, hold on. Need to exit the preview so I can actually move you through the walls. Ty, I assume your character, Captain Torg, will also go downstairs when Cecilia informs you of your presence being requested.
I cannot move my character.
What the hell did I come? What the hell did I come back to?
Oh god.
Oh, you've been gone this whole time. I'm sorry.
I said I'm going to go to the
missed
bathroom
that
real
part.
quick.
I
I'll be right
apologize.
back. Go
I
ahead.
apologize. I thought you had come back. Cecilia came to your door and knocked on it, and I assumed you would answer it. And she informed you that the Duchess wishes for you and your companions to join her down in the dining room
Oh,
to discuss business as well as to have an evening meal.
Yes, evening meal.
all right. Well, I'll go downstairs. Like I'm
very good hosts.
Like
they haven't fit on you guys once yet.
I'm sorry. Then I guess the nap
you know
wasn't. I guess I'm knocked out from a nap longer than I thought. I'll just go right down now.
Very well, good sir. I'll stay here and freshen up your sheets. And she starts like changing the sheets on your bed. It's a cookbook.
I hope everyone here is cultured enough to get the reference.
It's a cookbook.
Oh, and Shando, I think Jim Pan's Arcanist has been like Bethesda glitched into the stairs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know I can move.
Oh, I see what I did. I accidentally sat you on top of a light barrier. Forgot that I put it there rather than there. I think I should have put it the other stairs. Can I fix that? Can I fix that real quick? Yes, I can. They should have been over here, not over there. I had the stairs backwards. I think. Or did I? No, it might have been right the first time.
As we enter into the dining area,
Motherfucker.
I'll look to.
I'll give you a second, sorry. I'm fighting with my light barriers now.
Okay, I'll
They're
turn
not
to,
where they're supposed to be.
So I'll turn to Lady Mira and Lady Arena and say, I am glad to see that you're all right after last night's scuffle.
They gotta go. We heal fast. Nothing to worry too much about.
Of course, the offer for a night flight is still open.
Sorry, what was that?
The offer for the night flight is still open.
Which one is it?
That would be Mira. I promise to take
Mira.
her line.
I was trying to remember which NPC we were talking to for a moment. Mira seems delighted by the idea and says, after Mother speaks to you, and we have our meal.
Of course.
So in about an hour or so.
Of course.
Can I go downstairs to meet with everyone?
No, you're not allowed to go downstairs.
You're stinky. You didn't take a bath.
Yeah, you stinky.
I'll
I hadn't moved your token down the stairs yet.
I'll take my bath after. I'll take my bath after at the end of the day, or actually at the beginning of the day.
Start of night.
Sorry I'm late, everyone.
Hi, Captain.
Click. As the door closes behind you. You see arrayed in various arrangements. You see Klaus, Zyra, Irina, Mira, and Edmund, all in their various positions, as well as a Death Knight at the far end of the southern area, standing behind the chair there next to the window. He seems to be holding guard. You see him like swivel every once in a while.
Yeah, not having a repeat of last night.
Off to the one side of the room, you see one of the maids, Eleanor, with a tray of various refreshments. And you see Randall standing at the far end of the northern corner area. Just standing at attention, waiting to be required or needed.
Ask Eleanor for some water.
She comes over and presents you various drinks. She gives you some water.
I think they were
You
still
notice
here.
that each of the Casimir children already has a wine glass of some dark crimson liquid.
Probably blood. Who knows?
Wonder what that is.
What?
Some,
You say whose blood is this? So, who are we drinking today?
oh boy. Some like wine, if you please.
Yeah.
Hello?
But Eleanor brings you some wine. Randall says that her grace will be in just a moment. Please have a seat and feel free to discuss. Most of the Casimir family are very quiet. Unless you directly speak to them, they do not initiate any conversation.
What the hell was that?
That's somebody feedback.
Actually, no. That's something.
I'll switch over to
That's something
this
that's not
ambience.
possibly possible at all.
Sorry, say again?
First, let me turn down the ambience a little.
This isn't creepy at all.
No, of course not.
I usually turn
Eventually,
off the ambience in the recording so I don't get copyright to hell.
that is a good point.
Anyway,
Oh, I see where it's coming from. It's coming from Daniel. The ambience keeps keying his mic up.
yeah. So I realized what I was going to think about doing was actually a possibility.
What were you thinking about doing?
Trying to get a sniff of the air. Probably could smell the metallic scent of blood. It's probably gonna go.
I mean, you absolutely smell blood in here.
Yeah, but I was gonna go a step further and try and guess blood type. But I realized that's an impossibility. You can't do that.
As far as I know, there is no person alive, either in fantasy or real world, that can determine blood type by smell.
Yeah,
As far as I know,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah, hence we realized, wait, that's impossible. You can't do that.
Dr. Acula can.
Perhaps Dr. Acula can. I said, as far as I know. I didn't say it with a certainty. I said, from my knowledge, I don't know of anybody that has been able to do that.
Yeah, best I could do is.
Yeah.
The only ones who probably could pull that one off.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not living
the experienced.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not living in the world of My Hero Academia.
But eventually, the double doors at the end of the hall, the end of the dining area, open, and Her Grace steps in and has her seat. Lady Katya coming in and standing directly behind her shoulder.
I look towards the Duchess and bow my head respectfully.
Good evening, my children and my guests. I would like to first begin with apologizing for the events that occurred last night. It is an unfortunate travesty that while hosting your lovely presences here in my home, that you were accosted by hostile forces in an event that had unfortunately nothing to do with you. It is a family matter that should not have involved guests.
We also like to apologize for, pretty much asking for your help, as me and my first mate were sucked into a fight we believe is somewhat suspicious.
Yes, I
As in,
was informed
I
about
believe we were
that.
sucked
I
into
sent
that
my
thing.
friend. I sent my friend to go and help handle the legal ramifications. No, don't think anything of it. It's a simple matter to take care of.
Thank you very much anyway.
Of course.
I'm just glad to see that you are all right and unharmed, Duchess.
My darling, when you live as long as I have, you start to not worry about such minor inconveniences such as devils assaulting your home.
But you don't.
My son, unfortunately, has been placed under. What do the young people call it now? He's been grounded.
Lock and key or grounded.
He's been grounded.
Ah,
He's been a very naughty boy, and he's not allowed to leave his coffin.
As long as the wayward son is properly punished.
I just hope it does have any more mercenaries to assist them to escape, if you will. But anyway,
Well, I don't know if he has any more mercenaries, but I do have I have a business arrangement I'd like to propose to you, as well as a personal matter I'd like to bring up.
yes,
First, let's start with the business.
go ahead.
Gentlemen, remind me, have you been paid for your ship fare yet? I
Yeah,
do not recall.
No.
we. Oh right, we didn't.
Oh.
We think. Yeah, the first mates
No.
would know better than anyone. No, we haven't yet.
No.
Do you guys remember how much you were owed? Because I remember I told you the number, but I don't remember what that number was.
It was 5,000 something. It was either gold or platinum. Yes. Because I'm the one that helped make the deal with them being ferried down.
It might have been silver. As I remember, the fare was in silver, if I'm not mistaken. I think she did it in a different currency or a different denomination.
But it was
So
5,000.
So if it was 5,000 silver, then she probably gave you either 500 gold or 50 platinum. I think they're low though. I feel like I need to do my math again. Like it would have been more than that. Say ship passages is 1 silver per mile. And on the map. Let's see, each hex is 12 miles. just did a quick distance check. It's roughly 1,300 miles, or 1,344, and if it's 1 silver per mile, she would be paying you just under, or sorry, just a little over 13,000 silver. Sorry, 1,300 silver, not 13,000. So I guess 5,000 was higher than I thought it was. Fuck it. She'll pay you 5,000. She's fucking filthy rich. She'll we'll say that was handled by Randall. Eventually, Randall, sometime after she had retired for the evening, last night, during the day you guys have spent at the manor, he ensured, per her orders, he ensured that you guys were paid properly for your services. So you guys received a small chest of 50 platinum pieces to cover the 5,000 silver that she had promised you.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna platinum.
Second?
I'm gonna platinum. Fucking.
Well, you're the first mate. You handle most of the gold, unless I have to step in.
Yeah, I'm gonna platinum it again.
50 platinum is what I said.
50.
Yeah,
50 platinum, yeah. Which is 500
Okay.
gold in platinum pieces.
Yeah.
Or
And I just want to
5,000
be sorry.
silver. As they go in denominations of 10. Rocket
I
science.
don't know. I just want to be sorry. So,
Hey, anyway, I wish you. Anyway, you said you wanted to discuss some business before we were rudely interrupted by your no offense, rebellious son last night.
He says, of course. Now, on to business proposals first, before we start dealing with more personal. Money and math, always super exciting here in D&D.
yeah.
All right. I just had to make sure that Jim and I were on the same page. And she says, I find you and your crew quite capable. Math is not matching. I have found that you and your crew are quite capable in handling various issues, and I would like to formally employ you
So
for various activities that I have a vested interest in.
what kind of activities?
Well, not to be crude, but we all know, of course, that you are pirates, so I would like to hire you for some privateer work, so to speak. I have various rivals in trade and economics that I would like to see their shipments disappear from time to time, and if that should end up in your pocket, better for you, now wouldn't it?
Well, you seen what happened when a rival of my my friend's and my first mate's friend was trying to do business, so obviously, so needless to say, will be quite beneficial for us to expand that empire as well for you.
Of course. I have a few areas that I will look into and inform you about various opportunities, business opportunities in the future. I will find ways to contact you.
But of course,
Uh, but I have not had the time to look at where those opportunities lie in the immediate area. But I will inform you, of course, once I have that
don't.
information. By the way, just heads up, because I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the session. You guys have 4 inspiration on the table, just so you know.
All right. Don't worry about. I've uh, we have a week. Plus, I'm going to stop by what's it called to drop up to sell some dragon turtle scales, as well as to let's just say laying a load of jewelry, and to visit my first mate's friend, if you will.
I see.
After that, we were looking for a personal island for where we could, let's just say, expand our empire a little bit. Well, empires. No, they're not. We're not empire. We're a freaking pirate crew. But a safety net, if you will. Because the only island that's quote unquote ours is literally next to enemy territory, and we really don't want that.
Well, you are more than welcome to guest here whilst you are in the city.
Thank you. Oh, I have one favor, real quick, for for tomorrow afternoon.
Doctor, as soon as the doctor
Yes.
hears asking for a favor, he immediately turns to the captain.
Well,
Favor is a trigger word for Dr. Ice. That's come up way too often.
I'm like, no, it's a personal favor. I used to,
Oh, even worse.
I used to live here. I wanted to visit my old neighborhood, but because of let's just say, en- enemies that some enemies that might or might not come for either you or me. I don't know which. I don't know which. I don't know which is the target. I will need one of your wherever Death Knight has a bodyguard just in case. Because we get arrested again, then at least we know that they're not going to bull the legal system isn't going to BS us with your Death Knight literally walking around.
She goes, I will take your requests under advisement and I will consider it before I give my answer.
Thank you very
The
much
death
for that.
knights are quite valuable and it would not pay too well, considering the opportunities I plan on sending to you. It would not be too well to bring too much attention to our association.
Ah, that's a very good point. Thank you.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I can't ask my crew because they're not going to be back in the ship for a week. So,
Randall leans over and whispers something into her ear, and she goes, it is good. Thank you, Randall. Randall, my butler here, has informed me, or rather reminded me, that there is a possible opportunity, although I would like to look more information into it before I send you off to it. There is a warehouse down in what's the district name again? Down in Rampton, of a warehouse run by one of my mercantile associates, who has been attempting to get into the trade bar business. And they have found some success to my annoyance. It would be very nice if something were to happen to that warehouse where he has various other goods stored. Because he's only just recently gone to the silver trade bar business.
I see. I see what we could do about. Once you get more information, I'll see what we could do about have his merchandise disappear, if you
Yes,
will.
it would be most pleasurable if his what's the word I'm looking for? Damn it, I had it. Right. If his if his mercantilism portfolio were to thin some.
But of course, it looks like we're going to be. It looks like we're going to have a nice, friendly, lovely relationship.
Indeed. Which leads me to my next item on my personal docket. I have a personal matter that I would require some help in, as I am not as familiar with them as I would like. My son, what's his name again?
Nikolai?
What's the name of my father? Or the name of my child?
Nikolai?
Nikolai. My son Nikolai has entered into an infernal contract with a devil, granting him powers and allowing him to become a warlock. I unfortunately cannot get him to tell me the full details on the contract and what it abides by, as apparently a part of his contract requires him to not speak of it to others without permission of his patron. The power of this contract, unfortunately, supersedes my bond with my fledgling spawn, which is a problem. If, by some chance, you should come across any information or possible ways of breaking his contract or nullifying it so that he is no longer contracted to this entity, I would very greatly appreciate it. In fact, I would appreciate it enough to grant each of you a single boon to each of you.
I have.
Which
I
you can
have.
then request anything, any item, service, or whatever it is that I could provide you within my power, I can and will deliver to you.
I almost try to hide my laugh. Like I know what Dr. Ice is going to ask for, but anyway, to stay in business, I'm going to talk to my good friend Mr. Creve. Maybe he could. Maybe he, as he's
Yes, your warlock crewman. He might
yeah,
be able to help enlighten you better on how warlock contracts work. Although I
exactly,
don't know if he's the same type of warlock.
exactly. At the very least, hopefully, some of the rules are still the same. If not, then we'll see what. If not, then we'll get some information. After all, just because we're powers doesn't mean we're stupid. Piracy, in fact, the first rule of piracy or thievery in general is knowledge all the time.
Of course, in every enterprise, knowledge is always the greatest weapon.
It's funny
But
me it's
as
funny
enough
me
of
saying this,
business,
but
let
yeah.
us enjoy our meals.
Chat.
Eleanor, go and retrieve the meals from Lance. Based on the smells that are coming from the kitchen, I believe he's just about done. And Eleanor does a quick bow and scurries off. And she picks up her wine glass and she brings it up to her lips, and she kind of like stops and looks down at it and just goes, "This isn't my usual vintage." Randall off the side says, "Apologies, Your Grace. In the events that have occurred the last few days, I have not had a chance to replenish your usual vintage. Shall I make you a fresh glass now? She goes, you're so kind, Randall. Thank you. You take care of me so well. And she kind of sits that wine glass off to the side, and he goes over to a nearby cabinet and pulls out a different wine glass, and he walks over and he sits it down in front of her. It's an empty one. And he rolls his sleeve up, pulls a knife out, and just speak, and just drips blood into her wine glass. And then without a single drop landing anywhere other than inside that wine glass, he quickly whips out like a handkerchief, staunches the blood, rolls his sleeve back down with like the speed and precision of someone who's done this many times. In fact, when he rolls his sleeve up, you see several old faded scars of where he's slashed open his vein more than once.
Remind me of my last hospital stay.
Yeah. And he then steps back and he takes the wine glass that her first wine glass, and takes that and sets it off to the side, out of the way. And she goes, fresh wine, always the best.
Yeah.
I just shook my head.
Two
and
business partners.
I had two business partners as I raised my wine glass high before gently drinking it.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
same thing.
some steak and potatoes, and of course, steak potatoes, and of course, some vegetables on the side.
Eventually, Eleanor comes in with Lance, and maybe more down here, and they serve you guys actual food. Because half this table, like 60% of this table, does not eat human food.
Like, are they eating? Are vampires physically even able to eat that food, or
some vampire in many lore, some vampire are capable of eating food, like sandwiches and stuff like that. They are capable of it. It just does not nourish them, and depending on what type of lore you're going with, some of them can't keep it down, and eventually they vomit it up back up later. Some can, in some lores, they are incapable of tasting it. It's just something they just shove in their mouth and just swallow it and spit it out later. Some lores is that anything that's not blood tastes like awful. They'll eat it, and it will taste like to them. It'll be like they're eating like ash or like sawdust. It's horribly disgusting to them. Even though it's like a beautifully prepared meal, to them it tastes horrid.
So unless it's like a super rare steak, it's not going to be tasty for them.
Pretty much anything that's not them drinking blood, generally their body will reject in most lores. Some lores, they are able to mimic more living human or living creature behavior and are capable of consuming it, and then when out of sight, they usually just vomit it back up because they can't digest it. They're dead. They don't have a digestive tract to digest food.
No stomach.
It just kind of sits in the pit of their stomach until they vomit it out later, because it just sits there. It doesn't do anything. Their body doesn't process it. It doesn't pass through them. It just sits there. In most lores. So while they're fully capable of eating it, it doesn't do anything for them. So they just don't, unless they're trying to pretend to be alive.
All right.
And that's in some lores. Some lores, they physically can't eat it because their body violently rejects it. So they pretend to eat, but don't actually eat. Yes, this is Yosef Bridge.
Oh boy.
But yes, my father really wanted a cat named Yosef Bridge, and eventually we found a female cat, and he decided to name her Yosef Bridge. But cutting away from your lovely meal with the vampirus, back over to Daniel and Melacreed. Okay. That's the wrong map. I had to go to this map. So, you're in the safe house, trying to determine where those dastardly agents of the Habalith hegemony is. Any questions or concerns?
I don't know how much help I'm going to provide here. I know very little of the city. And all I could say is it's probably near a waterway.
Yep. And unfortunately, being a coastal town, there's a lot of waterways. Between the upper city, the lower city, and the undercity, they could be anywhere near water.
Yes.
Still, we checked the Water Queen's house. Yeah, I already checked there. That was an obvious place. Nothing. Just a whole bunch of women singing about drowning. Weird. So yeah, those guys are kind of freaky. Water Queen's house is the Temple of Umberly in the city.
I wouldn't know. Very little religious just personality here.
Indeed. I don't put too much stock in the gods, although I throw a tribute to math every once in a while. Help hide me in shadows. No, nobody likes when the moon comes out at the exact worst possible moment when you're trying to pickpocket someone.
I'm not familiar with them either.
A lot of thieves.
I am just a man of the sea.
Indeed. Well, we got the upper city here. We got Manorborn, Temples, Citadel Streets, and then the Wide. And then we got the lower city here. We got Bloomridge, Sea Tower, the Steps, Heapside, Eastway, Brampton. And we also got the outer cities. But odds are they're probably not operating anywhere in the outer cities. The lower city will be easier for them to operate, given the higher population. I see. Brampton has a lot of warehouses. Maybe we should look in there. We got guys in Brampton? Yeah, we got guys in Brampton. Where are they looking right now? They're looking around in the warehouse district area. They found anything yet? Nope. We need a way to narrow things. You've dealt with these people more than once. Any kind of insight you could provide on them?
The last times they were near the coast, and our great master of the sea smote one before me. It was a beautiful sight. And I will go into the detail of how this tentacle came out of the water and took it in great glorious detail.
Yeah, I think last time you guys found an aboleth, Sarkethel himself became involved.
Yes.
And I think all you guys saw of him was what giant tentacle did.
Yep. But other than that, no, I cannot provide much in the way. I'm assuming y'all have not captured any of them as bait. What would they eat?
They're very difficult to take alive. They seem to like to self-destruct themselves. Yeah, they apparently have some various alchemical and some. They apparently made some kind of alchemical compound that can cause volatile explosions and turn a person into a living bomb, as well as So we've heard that they've started upgrading some of their equipment with some more engineered items. The most recent one we heard about was the dead man switch debacle that happened earlier with your compatriots when they detonated after dying, using from what we've figured out based on some of our infiltrators in the watch. They were able to get some info on it. Apparently, it's using the same chemical formula, or alchemical formula that they use to turn themselves into spontaneously combustible explosives. Fucking insane. They created it with a specific trigger, a contingency type magic imbued into a device attached to their body that upon their death they explode. And these individuals have so far not been willing to go down quietly. As I said, it's been very difficult trying to take any of them alive. We have been so far unsuccessful. If you can manage that, that would be great. We'd love to get a more narrowing of the search grid. Baldur's Gate is quite a large city.
I don't know if I can take one alive. But there may be a few gifts that were given to me that may work.
Yeah?
It's a theory, but I'd have to find one of them.
Well, they seem not to like you guys, from what we were told.
Well, that is normal. Most people don't like me anyhow.
Ha.
I like you.
Because we're part of the same crew.
Remember, tieflings are not liked by a lot of people. It's what we are.
Neither are half orcs.
You're liked more than I am.
Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate, you haven't gotten too many issues about it. Baldur's Gate is one of those cities that's far more welcoming as long as you maintain the peace.
Probably looked on as like walking dinner.
Let's see. I can't.
The most common places they might be would be either the Steppes, Eastway, or Brampton. Those are the areas of greatest access to the docking areas. And if they got some kind of rich patron, Bloomridge or Manorborn would be where those individuals might be hiding. Have we found anything out on any of anyone that's sponsoring or patronizing them? Like, none so far. Whoever it is keeping a real tight lid on their activities. Bastards. We're good or spies and infiltrators. We can't spy and infiltrate shit. Damn it.
This will take some thought. If you'll excuse me while I think.
Yeah, sure. Take your time, buddy.
I'm going to reach down and grab my fishing pole and walk to an area where I can fish.
Do you leave the safe house and go near some water somewhere?
Yes.
Cool. So you find yourself near some docks. What district are you in right now? Let me think. What would make sense for the safe house to be? Probably in Eastway, actually. Yeah, so you're in Eastway. You're in the Eastway district right now. So you leave the safe house and you go a few streets or a few blocks to near the docks where you can. By this point, the sun has gone down. It's kind of late evening. Let's hear ambience. There it is. Docks at night. Occasionally, you'll see a small flaming fist patrol wander past you. They don't pay you any mind, or they don't bother you in any way. They just see you just fishing late in the evening, or sorry, early in the evening, I should say. It's around like 6, 7, 8ish. So it's like early evening. We'll say 7.
Oh, okay.
So it's late enough for it's definitely dark. The sun has gone down, but not so late that like somebody finds it odd that you're doing stuff. Because you see like other people milling about. Some like late night dock working here and there, you know, by lantern light and stuff like that. As well as there's also various like taverns or inns with, you know, that's playing, you know, you hear music and the smell of alcohol and the laughter and cheers of patrons and whatnot in the various establishments as you walk by. So it's not like the city has gone completely dead quiet.
I doubt it ever does.
Ending. You've figured out that in the upper city there is a very strict curfew that after sundown all the gates to the upper city close and nobody walks around in the streets except for the watch. Very strict in the upper city. Make sure that riffraff doesn't wander around in the neighborhoods at night.
That's elitist.
It's also part of the reason why some people live in the upper city, and most of them are like upper crust nobility, because the neighborhood stays safe because of the curfew. Nobody wanders around the streets at night. So, and the watch maintains a very strong security there.
Well, while I'm sitting outside, I'm going to be watching people while as I fish.
Looking for anything in particular?
I know what sailors look like, and they deal with a certain level of stuff. Huh? Guards are going to act a certain way.
So it sounds like an insight check's in your future.
Yes.
And roll me an insight check as you people watch.
Give me 1 second. What I'm fully doing. Before I do my insight, as I'm fishing and stuff, I wish to cast one spell.
What spell is that, my friend?
Borrowed Knowledge.
Sorry, say that one more time?
Borrowed Knowledge.
Borrowed knowledge. What does this spell do?
Give me 1 moment and I will pull it up for you.
I'm glad you ask. As you pull out the giant book of spells. Invented back in the 14th century DR by a wizard named Bumbo.
I draw upon
spirits of the past. Choose one skill in which you lack proficiency. For the spell's duration, you have proficiency in the chosen skill. The spell ends early if you cast it again. How long does it last?
1 hour.
That's a decent amount of time. I'll say, yeah, that works. So you're going to use it to gain proficiency in insight?
You bet. I literally form a spirit to talk to about all of the stuff that's going on around me, basically.
Cool. You're drawing the knowledge from spirits of the past. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you pull out your occult warlocky shit, esoteric occult nonsense, and spirits, come forth. And rising up from the water is a ghostly spectral apparition of what looks like in a sailor uniform of some kind. He's got like the classic like bandana, the blue and white striped shirt, the baggy loose pants with like the rope belt. He's got like an eye patch, and and you notice he's got this like gaping hole in his chest where it looks like he was run through with a sword. And he kind of rises up and he goes, "Yeah, what you want, landlubber boy? I was napping real good down the briny deep. A rest for the weary bones.
Sit,
I don't got those weary bones no more."
sit, and let's talk and gossip like old sailors do.
Ah, yeah, I haven't had a good gossip in a while. Most of the fish down there don't want to be talking much.
So I'm going to discuss, the people that are around. Those are sailors, pirates. Those look like guards, noblemen, and I'm going to keep going through. I'm look. You see anyone who just doesn't fit in? Trying to look for the abolition people.
That guy over there cheating on his wife. That guy fucks the little boys. That guard takes bribes. See how he's walking? You right there. You guys see that little tilt to the left of his hip? That's bribe money weighing him down. You can see the pouch right there on his back left hip. That guard's corrupt. Keep that in mind. You might need to bribe a guard. That's the guard you're going to want to bribe. He takes bribes.
Inside of 22, as we discuss all the various people that we see, just noticing the
That
oddity.
looks like an honest man. Looks like he works real hard. You see there's calluses on his hands. Yeah. That guy doesn't have a lot of calluses on his hands. I don't think he knows how to work ropes. What's he doing on the decks? You're looking for someone who ain't who they say they are. I think it's that guy. The guy moving that there crate. But that other guy. It's really strange. They also ain't. Those look like humans. But they ain't got no lantern. It's real dark out here. I'm a ghost, so I can see them. Even my one bad eye. They're working in the dark. Let's see. Ooh, there's a patrol coming by. Oh, they said they ducked behind those crates when the fist walked by. Give it a minute. Yep, as soon as they're gone, they went back to work. Them look like smugglers. If you want to know about where who's who and where they are, you want to talk to those guys. They might know something. Them ain't sailor boys. Them smugglers. They might be working for the guild. They might be independent. I don't know for certain. But my experience tells me you won't talk to them.
Well, once I've done this and we've talked for about an hour, I will get up, release all the fish I've caught because I'm not cooking. I'll take the fish back with me. I can feed the group. They'd appreciate it.
Who are you feeding?
I'm gonna eventually go back to the secret clubhouse.
Oh,
With my fish. Got a handful of them. I've caught one fish, big fish. I don't know.
they're big fish. Found a flounder, I guess. I don't know. I don't know fish names.
But once I go back,
as the spell fades away, he goes, "Always keep on the lookout on your always keep a hand on your purse and your other hand on your knife, boy. You never know when you might need either." And then he fades away back into the afterlife.
let's see. Do I want to do that? No. So, before he goes, I will like to ask him, was he cursed to live down there?
Nah. No curse. I was just murdered. That's where my body is. Nobody came down to get me. My bones are still down there. So
Would you like to
near my bones?
Would you like to move on?
Mm. Yeah, thinks about it for a minute. He goes, "Yeah, I kind of like the quiet, nice and dark, quiet. You know, a bit of the end of sleep, a bit of the end of death, I should say. I'd rather not go to the land of the dead, the city of the dead. The place kind of sucks.
Well, I hope I get to see you around sometime. Enjoy your peace.
No problem. You be careful now. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see your stabbed to death body hanging out in my harbor. There's only room for one of us down here." As like our spirit pops out, he goes, "There's a bunch of us down here. Shut up, Phil.
Do you know who
He knows
killed you?
what I mean." You watch out for yourself, kid.
You know who killed you?
And he goes, that guy's dead.
Okay.
That's Joey over there, a little ways down. He killed me, and then somebody killed him like a couple years later. That's how it goes. I've been dead for over 50 years. Anyone that gave a shit about me, long gone.
Yeah.
And he fades away back into the afterlife.
Okay. Gonna go back and to them and I love borrowed knowledge. It's kind of it makes me even a better Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, that's a pretty nifty spell.
I know, it's fun. Better than a bard. So I'm gonna go back, knock on the door. Hello.
Step in, they close the door.
I'm gonna go find and I'm gonna present him the fish. Here, look like y'all could use a small bit of something. It's fresh from the harbor.
That's great. I was getting a little peckish. You could definitely eat. Jackie, go ahead and roll this up. And he's like, "Yeah, on, boss."
Now, I've noticed that it's a handful of things out there as I've been thinking. I'm not gonna let them know that I have been
On the ghosts.
exactly.
So I summoned a ghost, starts just having a chat with them. I'm sorry, you did what?
I'm creepy enough as is. They don't need to know all my secrets.
Yeah.
And so I was watching, and I'm gonna start going down the list of things. First of all, I'm gonna describe the guard that odds are probably takes bribes. Are y'all aware of him?
What's his description? As he pulls out a large like file book. Funk.
I'm gonna describe him to the best of my ability.
That is the member of the Flaming Fist. Or yeah, here he is. That's Bill. That is Flaming Fist Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, we're aware of him. He's apparently he's coming to some hard financial times, and so he doesn't mind a little extra pay slipped into his hand from time to time if all he has to do is just keep his mouth shut and not look at something.
Now, this isn't related to y'all, but it might be helpful information later. There's a guy, looks to be like a merchant, who something seems off about him. Almost like the Flaming Fist might want to look into him. Or y'all do. And I'm going to describe the pseudo-pedophile that you described earlier.
Oh, that freak? Yeah, we don't care about that guy.
Well, you never know what you may catch. And then finally, there's some people down at the docks right now.
Yeah.
Now, what I can tell, they're not real good at what they're doing, but they're there anyhow. How? Most people
What
at
are
the
they doing?
docks, you know how when you move cargo, most people at the docks, they have a rhythm to it. And it's kind of like
I've watched
fly
golfers
fishing.
before.
Well, you ever find those people who aren't fly fishers that are pretending to be fly fishers? They don't have that rhythm.
Spotted smugglers, didn't you?
No, even smugglers have their own rhythm of cargo moving. These are people who are trying to look like they are cargo movers, but are not. And as soon as a group of fists came around, they scattered like roaches in the light.
So obviously they're doing something on the docks. So they don't want the Flaming Fist to notice.
Yes. This is just a handful, and I'm going to keep going down the list of oddities. Odds are, we may not know where they
Did they
are,
work for the guild?
or they know where supplies are going that would supply the Aboleth's cult. Because as
It's worth asking them some questions. Steve-O. So yeah. Go ahead and take a couple guys down to the dock, see if you can find those guys. Chat them up. See what you can figure out. There goes, is this just a conversation, boss, or is this a or is this a closed meeting? And he goes, start a conversation. If necessary, bring them in for a closed meeting. You got it. He grabs like 3 or 4 guys and they leave. You fall asleep standing up? I'm leaning here. I just hear. And she's just standing there with her eyes closed.
now, I know very little of the Aboleth cults in general.
Well, what we determined is that they like to create thralls and mind control people. It's kind of their thing. So they're and some people worship them as gods, like elder beings and whatnot. So possible that they have a combination of that they're using mad cultists as like a front to perform their various activities while keeping the more closer inner circle agents under thraldom.
So where are they getting the food and the treasure from? And how are they getting it into the city?
Well, we think there's someone with connections, influence, and wealth helping sponsor them. And as soon as we figure out who that is, we can cut off their their big contributor.
So the food is coming in somehow, by ship or by land.
Well, how they're moving things, there's thousands of different ways in and out of the city, either above ground, underground, through the water, through the air. Well, not through the air, but so let me put it this way: you could go from one side of the city to the other without ever having to come into the light of day, and no one would ever know that you crossed it. There are plenty of ways to do that. So them moving around, not that unusual. Who the hell keeps paying for all of it? That's what we would like to know, as well as where their headquarters is. We're hoping that we can figure out one if we find the other. If we can find one or the other, we can trace that to the next one. So if we find their hideout, hopefully you can find out who their patron is from there. Or if we find their patron, maybe they might tell us where their hideout is.
But other than that, I cannot be much more help.
I don't suppose you have any good connections with anyone in Manorborn or Bloomridge, where all the rich fuckers live.
I do not.
But you know someone who does?
Possible. But once again, I don't know. That would be a conversation that I will talk to them about.
Well, we're exhausting any possibility that we have right now, so feel free to talk to them, as long as they're, of course, authorized.
Are you from? No, you probably wouldn't know him. A brethren of ours, the captain of the Stormbreaker.
Yeah, I noticed. I know that. Yeah, he's your captain on your ship. I know about that. I know
Well,
he's currently docked at the Bloomridge dock, so he's got to know somebody.
Well, he's also a fledgling member too.
I'm betting he owes the boss a favor.
He does.
Mm.
He might know a few people. I mean, he's been hanging out over there in the upper class.
I mean, if he's docked at Bloomridge, he's got to know somebody.
So
Not
maybe
just
we
anybody
can,
docks at Bloomridge at the Bloomridge docks.
so maybe we can inquire through him, his connection.
That was really helpful. It's hard to move around in the upper city without drawing too much attention. Small community, everybody knows everybody. It's not, not a lot of people sitting at the top, so they all know each other.
Well, let me go talk
Hard to
with
infiltrate
him.
the ranks.
I will be back in 2 days' time.
Hopefully, we'll have something more to give you in 2 days' time.
So, if y'all will excuse me, I am off to go find the captain.
No problem. Where is it? I'm looking for. Where is it? There it is. As you leave the safe house and travel off into the night.
For now, I'm going to go back to the ship because I can't get into the upper class area
upper city.
at night.
Yeah, the Casimir Estate's in the upper city of Matterborn, and that place is locked down at night.
So once I get back to the ship, I will continue doing fishing for any of the crew that is on the ship, so they can have fresh fish.
Cool.
And I will take me a rest.
Indeed. Coming back to the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm just talking. Right now, I'm just talking to something eldest children about the fight me and LaFerne's been in last time. Like the fact that, um, so this is what happened. We were all just walking by, minding our own business, while suddenly a fight breaks out. Now I see one of my old family first brethren. In the distance, I'm like, I'm not gonna fuck with them. But plus, plus the plus this is the upper rent district. I want to get arrested for no good reason. And then someone comes out from behind the shadows and attacks us, and suddenly we're literally sucked into the fight.
Sounds like it appears that they used the incident as a means to create chaos. Perhaps the incident was planned or staged
Oh no, this
in
was
order to
just
create an opening to assassinate you.
it. I believe it's possible because they have pretty much a. You know what Dead Man Switch is?
As I heard that they had some explosives go off.
Yeah, thank God. Hey, thank God I still have my gun because, oh boy. Of course, obviously, since the officers don't know who's good and who's bad, we also get me. me, my first mate, and a couple of my crew members who was passing by at the time got arrested.
That is typical of the Watch. Because this happened in the Wide, which is in the upper city, so it would have been the Watch rather than the Flaming Fist. The Watch tend to keep the upper city under control.
That is true, but like I said,
The
it's
Fists
still
tend to deal with more outside threats and occasionally patrol within the lower city areas.
yeah, that's the thing. I expected that stuff in the lower city, but not. Well, then again, even when I lived here, I didn't travel to upper city that much for obvious reasons.
Well, the Wide is a area that a lot of people travel to. It's the big marketplace, very famous across the realm. So like everybody goes there, whether they're high or otherwise.
Well, never mind then.
Massive crowds and stuff like that. Like here, let me switch back to here. The Wide's over here. It's the area that like a lot of merchant stalls are like built up and used during the day and then broken down and like set up and arranged and whatnot. There's not a lot of permanent structures in the Wide. That massive open area is where there'd be massive crowds and massive numbers of like merchant stalls and whatnot.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
And that is one of the districts that is super hard locked down at night. Like no one is allowed to travel around in there at night. Because the city officials that run that area, because there's so much like mercantilism and goods that move through that area, they keep that place locked down for security reasons. And so like, all the gates are closed. Nobody goes in and out there at night.
So literally, like the mall closed. Like the mall is closed. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, pretty much. Like just the sun's coming down, all the merchants get kicked out, and they're told come back tomorrow.
You mean all the customers?
No, merchants do. Like merchants want to enter the Wide and set up their shop and stalls until sunlight, until like day comes, and they open the gates and they allow them, and I can't remember the name of the guy's position, but there's a guy who like determines like what the arrangements are, like who's going to be where, and like they do like various good inspections and whatnot before. Like it's not uncommon to see like lines of people outside the gate to go into the Wide, waiting for everybody to give like, okay, it's clear for shopping, and like no one other than the Watch are in the Wide at night. Very very strict lock and key security.
All right. Well, never mind then. So
because there's only like there's only like a handful of permanent structures, and most of them are like temporary structures that are created, and the crowds are thick. You've been to the Wide more than once throughout your lifetime, and you've been pickpocketed more than once in the Wide. To the point where you stopped carrying your money with you to the Wide because you always got it stolen. Because like the crowds are thick and packed to the point where like people who do deliveries actually carry them on like tall poles, so they're way above the crowd, so you can't easily steal them. Because if they carry them down here, they'll get stolen. So they carry them up on like these large poles. So they're like 10 feet above the crowd, so nobody can just go hi-ya and just take it. Actually, yeah, that's what it says in the wiki. That's the actual fucking lore. They're called pole bearers. They literally have these long poles, and they put like with like a little platform. They put all the various like deliveries and like sacks and stuff like that on there, and they just carry them through the crowd because the crowd is like shoulder to shoulder almost constantly. So you gotta like push your way through, and this is so they can't. It's because if they carry it down on their person, they'll get stolen. There's thieves always in the Wide. Because there's so many people and so much goods move through there, there are always thieves in the Wide. So they're like, well, we can't have our deliveries stolen when we're trying to deliver it to a customer, so we're going to put it on this pole.
So to rewrite,
they're going like this, and they're going like this through the crowds, so you can't steal their shit.
So to rewrite my story a little bit, at least until the at least until we were sucked into the fight, we're thinking, okay, these are people who tried to steal, and the victims caught them and decided to beat their asses
And what you
until
ran into is you ran into a couple of Luskanites. The recognized were definitely pirates, but nobody could prove it. It's one of those things where it's like they're pirates, but they haven't been caught yet for piracy. So that's why they're still around. And then they happen to run into some water deviants, armadas, some Navy men from the Waterdeep Armada Navy that happen to be visiting Baldur's Gate. And these two groups ran into each other and got into an argument that turned into a fight. And then a third group attacked you guys, using those first two guys fight as a smokescreen. That's how it all went down. The Duchess floated the idea that could have been either planted or staged. Perhaps somebody created a situation that had those two entities run into each other, and an argument then started. Like there was perhaps an instigator who took the flaming wick and the oil and went.
And sad thing
just
is,
to get shit to happen.
And sad thing is, I agree with him with the pretty much perfect timing with everything when me and Lord Ferrens passed through, and everything literally went out. It's literally like wrong place, wrong time, unless obviously it was planned that way. Hopefully these. No, because if they're working with your son, they'll be more prepared for us. And have silver weapons. Silver weapons and anti-magic devices. So
perhaps it was simply just a suicide attack, disguised as chaos.
That is definitely true.
There's a possibility.
Say again?
If there's anything in my network or within my power that I can use to help you, feel free to ask. I would hate for our new business relationship to be soured by your death.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure no one likes to. I'm pretty sure me and my crew and my friends like to stay alive for a very long time. If I have any information, trust me, I'll let you know, and hopefully you could at least point us in the right direction.
Well,
for now,
she turns to her son, Klaus, and says, "Klaus, you still have friends in the Flaming Fist, don't you?" And he's like, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, mother, I do." And Edmund, you know you're quite close to the Gondians in the Temple District, correct? And he's like, "Yes, mother." Ask around. We'll see what they can figure out.
For now, confidence on your ship. I didn't have steak this good in a long time. No offense, my ship's cook, of course.
Of course, I am nothing but benevolent, generous host, and love nothing more than my guests to be well satisfied. It would shame me greatly if I were to be a poor host after all these years.
And of course, tomorrow morning I'll try to send word to my ship to say, "Hey, if you see Creve, have him come up to the mansion."
Reed or Creve?
Creve.
So the Dragonborn Creve.
No, the tiefling.
Or do you want the Tiefling Creed?
Yeah.
because
If you
there's
see Mr. Creve,
Eve,
let him know to come
and then there's
to
Creed.
the what? Sorry. Let him know to come to the mansion. We need to ask him some questions.
Randall speaks up and he says, "If you require a message to be delivered, I have many couriers I can acquire. Send one now if you wish for it to arrive. Whether or not it will be read tonight is another matter, but it will be delivered to someone. And if not directly delivered, they will find someone to deliver to at some
Yes. Let me get a paper and I guess I'll sign it to know that it's me. It's to let them know it's me, so they can at least so that the person on guard at least will read it.
Of course. I shall
Uh,
go and summon couriers at your permission, of course, Your Grace. And she goes, of course. See to it, Randall. And he's like,
Primus
as you say.
says, Mr. Cree, please come to the mansion. Please then come to the mansion at least by late afternoon before Manborn closes down for the night. Me and the Duchess need to ask you some questions, especially about warlocks. Like I'll wrap it up, sign my name on it, and I have him like, please deliver this to my ship, please.
Of course, sir. It shall be done. Post haste. Takes the letter and then exits the room to go and take care of to go get a courier and have this sent.
That's so how's everyone doing? Pretty much try and make small talk as best as possible.
Which is easily done. The atmosphere is light and calm. Towards the Dr. Eyes, you notice that partway through the meal, you feel eyes on you.
I
And you
always
kind of turn to see Mira. You kind of turn to see Mira, who is now like staring at you as she's watching you eat. This may or may not make you uncomfortable. I don't know you, but she's like watching you eat and is like she's like studying like how much you have on your plate as you like consume the food, and it looks like she's waiting for you to finish as she's just like. She's very just patiently waiting.
And
She doesn't want to be rude and bother you while you're trying to eat because she knows that like that was a thing that she used to do when she was alive, and that's the thing you still do. But she's just kind of waiting.
and I will continue to eat the food at a okay, what's the word I'm looking for? At a good pace, but not too fast. Something that's dignified. Yes.
Okay.
And
You don't spend too much time savoring the meal, but you don't wolf it down.
they did it at a dignified pace.
And as the meal eventually draws to a close, she goes, "Let's go flying."
My lady. And I hold my hand out.
She takes your hand.
I lead her right outside to like the outdoor area. I pick her up bridal style, and then off we go into the air.
Oh,
Give me an athletics check.
Oh,
Because she's not a super heavy woman, but I don't know how strong you are. She's like maybe 90 pounds.
oh crap!
Well, I'm not wearing like any like equipment outside of like a staff and clothing, so I'm not burdened down by weight. but inspiration.
You. Okay, I was about to say. You can burn the inspiration, but this isn't like a pass or fail kind of thing. This is a you could like reattempt it. But it does. There's like a few moments where like like your first try, you try and take off, and you're not used to like physically carrying someone while flying, and so your first takeoff doesn't go super smoothly, and so like you kind of like hop off the ground and kind of start to bring your wings down, and you only go like a couple feet up, and then immediately fall back to the ground, and she kind of goes, "Problems?"
He's not bird enough for you.
Just a moment.
I hope I'm not too heavy for you to carry me, Doctor.
Oh, goodness, no. And I'm not going to go any further because I know
not a
not to.
brain.
Except he's smart enough to not to realize never comment about a woman and weight.
Your second attempt, you you maintain altitude for a few moments, and you're having a hard time doing the takeoff because of the extra weight. You're not able to get into the altitude you need to be at to maintain a good glide. And she kind of notices this, and she goes, "Would you like to start from the roof?"
Hidden path. Yep.
Because the only option is just
He points out the path to go up to like gain roof access and whatnot, and you this time I'll let you roll with advantage because you're gonna do what like an actual bird does, and like leap off and kind of glide into a air updraft, which will help you maintain flight easier. It will help you give a better takeoff.
An 18.
You easily do so. Because if anyone's watched actual like birds and like other flying creatures in like various forms of media, you notice that just taking off just straight up from the ground is difficult, especially with extra weight, which is why most of them tend to start at a high place and jump into a glide until they find a wind updraft, and then they flap just to increase or maintain altitude.
Mm-hmm.
Creatures that fly tend to more kind of gently lull on the wind more so than go because they exhaust themselves doing that.
Alrighty. And now we are in the air.
And she's like,
Fly around Manorborn. And I hold her tight.
Don't let go. This isn't flying. This is falling with style.
always fun to stay at the YMCA. Always hanging out at the YMCA. Sorry, I had to torment my cat. It's falling with style.
But yeah, just fly around Manorborn for like maybe an hour or so.
Around the city or around the city district, or around the estate?
Around the district.
Okay.
You're gonna get shot at.
Okay, maybe not too far away from the manor.
Okay.
Shit.
You recall I flew around, but I flew at stealth at night for a reason.
Well, it's night as well.
You weren't.
You're also a big giant bird creature.
Which means he's less likely to be immediately shot at because he doesn't look like an evil bat monster. Feathered wings versus leathery wings.
Mm-hmm. Oh god.
What? Okay, you're concerning me about what you're loading up.
Oh, that was just me putting the rest of my dice back in my bag. I only needed one set.
Oh.
I just emptied it out so I could get my set of dice. Yes, I've given him a D12. Useless. She just sniffed it and stared at me.
Well, I suspect I'm going to be burning a lot of my hidden paths.
Okay. So you fly around Manorborn, around the district. Lovely evening, it's a beautiful night. Mira is having a great time. Because as a vampire spawn, she doesn't actually have the ability to fly. Only her mother can do that as a full vampire lord. Because she doesn't have the ability to turn into a bat or into mist.
And as for flying, I'm holding her close. I think I already mentioned that.
Yes. In case you're wondering, if you do drop her, she doesn't die. She just kind of gets a little. She gets a little busted up and broken a little bit, and then like reforms back into her body as like the bones re-snap back in together. You on the other hand, you fall from that height, you die.
I'm picturing
You should sleep fine.
I'm picturing a bird-like creature carrying a vampire bridal style around the city.
Not around the city, just the district.
Well, this district.
How big of a mistake did I do?
You don't know. All you know is you had a lovely evening. How long do you spend flying around?
I said about an hour.
Okay, you spend a nice hour flying around the district. There's a few night birds up there that you run into occasionally. At one point, you fly by an owl, and like an owl's flying next to you, and you guys are like flying close formation together, and it's just like, and you're like, "Yo, what's up?" It's like, "Whoa." Owl seems surprised that there's another large bird-like creature up here. It dives off somewhere else to like go attack a rat or something.
Do owl things.
Yeah. And what you up to? Owl stuff.
Have fun.
Yeah, owl stuff. Bird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you make your way back towards the estate as hundreds of crossbow bolts. I'm just kidding. But you eventually return to the estate unharmed, unmolested.
And as we land, I'm going to take Lady Mira by the hand and nuzzle my beak into her hand a little bit. Apologize for because I don't have lips.
She seems confused for a second at first. She's just like, "Would you let me put birdseed in my hand?"
No, it's just that I know that usually it's customary for somebody, if they spend time with an older lady, to kiss the back of the hand. I unfortunately don't have lips, so I was just trying to do with what I could. I do hope you had a lovely evening.
I had a great time. Flying is fun. I wish I had wings. Do you think if I took yours, would they work?
I prefer not to experiment on that, unless I pass away. Then you can have them.
I wasn't saying I was taking them. I was just wondering if I did take them, would they work?
I think they'd have to be
Do you think I could wrap them on and use them and shit?
If you have a good crafter, maybe. Though it takes some
I have
practice.
to talk to Edmund. I need to go talk to Edmund. And she scurries off. Edmund! Edmund! And you're kind of left there at the door. Death Knight standing next to the door, just looking at you.
I'm going to turn to the Death Knight. And
would you like to re-enter the home?
That would be appreciative.
Good. He just stands there and waits for you to come inside.
And I go inside.
He closes the door.
is good. It is a pleasure to be back. Lady Mira enjoyed her time in the air, and I continued walking and heading back to my room. But actually, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look for the captain.
By the time you come back, the little dinner party is oh no, don't want to do that. Has concluded, and the Duchess has retired into her music room, I guess would be the name for it. Where the big organ is, to the north here.
Okay.
Yeah. And like Klaus is standing over here. Zarya is sitting in the chair over here. Edmund probably be here. I'm just arranging various people in various locations. I unlock certain doors. Everything you down. Get out my trash can. Oh shit.
Uh-oh.
Cat's getting into shit that she knows she's not supposed to get into.
It's always scary whenever you have a DM say, "Oh shit."
I said little shit. My cat was being a little shithead.
So, how was your romantic flight, Doctor? I tease him, of course.
It was quite lovely. Lady Mira
You
was
guys did hear Mira run to the house at one point going, "Hey man, what are you doing?"
Say again?
I was saying that like you heard, you didn't see her, you heard Mira like run through the manor calling for Edmund because apparently she wants to go talk to him. You hear one of the servants say that Edmund went to his workshop outside. And then you hear like a door clunk, clunk. Series of doors opening and closing as she. But the Duchess starts playing her organ music as creepy vampire lords tend to do.
Anyway, it was a lovely evening. Lady Mira was quite excited. Being in the air. I guess we might consider doing that again sometime while we're here.
Yes. Yes. Let's enjoy our week because unfortunately it looks like it's going to be cut off at least for us soon.
And how often do we get a chance to live in luxury?
Eh. I feel like it looks like LaFerne's is retiring in the music room. I'll retire to the library for a couple of minutes for a while. So
Oh, yeah,
I
that
forget
reminds
where
me.
the library is.
Based on the images of this map, I think it's the same room because that's the room that has all the bookshelves in it.
Oh,
Books in it.
So let me
Lord.
rephrase that. All right, so let me rephrase that. While the while the foreign is retiring to the music room, I'll retire here and enjoy a couple of good books.
With the lovely music provided to you by your host.
Mhm.
Yep.
I'll go and listen to. She's quite good.
Oh, yes, she is.
I don't actually have any organ music ambience to play for you at the moment. Because, in case you're wondering, no, it's not. You don't actually hear it in this ambience because technically that's a piano. It's not an organ. They are very different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just for fun, let me see. Indie ambience. Vampire Manor. Organ. See, I can find what I want. There. Organ. Find what I wanted to find. I saw it earlier. That's piano and cello. I'm not looking for piano and cello. I'm looking for where is it? No, I saw it in here. You don't have to be inside the bag, you know. Cat's trying to find it, wedge its way into my bag.
Katie just wants to go with you.
Where is it? I'm finding more piano than organ. There's no ones I saw it earlier. Emily does not seem to be very cooperative about her luncheon.
Nope.
But we'll maintain our current ambience because I'm not able to find the ambience. I saw the ambience video earlier that had like some cool organ music. It wasn't what I was looking for at the time, but now I can't find it. So we'll not worry about it. But let's see. Everybody roll me a perception check.
Okay.
I'm not going to do much, but it's all right.
Yep, persuade the sounds.
That's persuasion.
Oops, sorry.
As for perception, it's right next to it though. Close.
Yeah, but not exactly better. Oh, that's performance. Why not perception?
You'll get it right eventually, I'm sure.
You're dancing a jig to the sounds.
There we go. It just took 3 attempts.
Wow. Everyone got over a 20. That's amazing. And as for your question to Klaus, Jim Pan, his reply to that is that you will have to speak to his mother.
Okay.
Because he can't just give you an item from the house. He doesn't have that kind of permission to do so. He can give you one of his belongings, but if it's required from the manor itself, you'd have to talk to her.
It's also a subject.
Which
It's
is
something.
means that you possess an object taken from the. Go away. Hello, darkness, my old friend. They are in the desired destination within the last 6 months, such as a book from a wizard library, bed linen from a royal suite, or a chunk of marble from a lich's secret tomb. I mean, you can steal the soap out of the bathroom, I guess. I have the soap. It's over here, whatever I want. But when you bring it up to the Duchess, she goes, without even missing a key, she pulls off a small ring on her pinky finger. It's just a simple gold band with a small ruby on it, and very deftly, as without stopping the music, without missing a beat, she kind of flicks it up to the tip of her finger and then kind of flicks it at you and goes, "Catch." You can use that.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. It's one of my less interesting gems. I've been thinking about getting rid of it anyway. It doesn't. It used to match some of my more fashionable choices, but or some of my gowns. But that particular piece has come out of fashion lately, or at least the outfits that it matches with. I just haven't gotten around to taking it off my finger yet. It should do. Meanwhile, everyone that rolled well over the 20 perception check, you hear a small explosion beneath the floor, and the house kind of rumbles and shakes a little bit. And you see the Duchess stop for a minute, and she goes,
As I close my book and look and peek
she
inside,
kind of like turns and goes, "Rando," and you hear as Randall quickly comes running into the room and goes, "Called you, Grace." And he goes, "I believe my son is being unruly downstairs. Can you figure out what's going on? Take some extra death knife if you need to." And he goes, "Once, madam, I shall have it done immediately." And as he goes into the dining room here, he kind of looks at the death knight that's standing there and kind of snaps at him and goes, "Follow me." And the death knight.
at this rate, I'm going to ask Drusilla to come to this house as well to teach him some teach him some manners. then again, how do you torture a vampire without severely harming him or killing him?
The Duchess goes, "Generally with silver, dear. Generally with silver. It doesn't leave permanent damage. It just hurts a lot. Some silver chain, just kind of wrap it around them, or just really lie it across them. Sometimes it works just fine with that as well.
Yeah, I don't think a giant case low blow will work because, well, Mr. Happy doesn't work anymore.
As has been proven on more than one occasion, punching a vampire in the nuts doesn't hurt them because your fists are not made of magic or silver, so therefore it does nothing.
unless you punch him with silver bread. Not ooh.
And it might mildly annoy him.
I'm not going to complete that thought.
I think Stone.
And Johnny Cage's case, it would hurt because at the time he was a magical fighter.
At some point, after like 10 minutes after the little rumble and explosion, you hear this door over here goes flying open. The guy comes in. He's all like disheveled looking and a little scorched. And he's like, ah, there you are, mother. I've finally come for. As two Death Knights immediately come into the room and tackle him to the ground.
I was about to put him. I was about to put him in his sleeper, but never mind.
They like go like full Secret Service, just immediately just like, there he is. And start punching him.
Like I immediately, you almost see my head like getting singing for the sleeper. Then you see the dude step. I was like, never mind.
You see like Randall come in like behind them, and just goes, "Dear Nikolai, I told you your mother seemed to guess and cannot be bothered right now." And he's like, "Fuck you!" And he goes, "That's very rude, dear sir. Very rude indeed." And it's like, I don't give a dick. Oh shit! As one of the dead, just socks him in the fucking jaw. Just bam. It's like, oh, get your hands off of me, you filthy dead knights! You will obey me! And they go, we listen only to the mistress of the knights. And they just like drag him away. He goes, unhand me, you bastards! I will succeed! I will not be held! Who cannot contain me inside my coffin?
Is there any chance you're going to cough in the bottom of the sea for? Oh, that's right. Vampires and water don't mix. Damn it.
They mix just fine as long as it's not running water.
Which the ocean is.
But that's the sea.
When the Death Knight comes over and he just goes, apologies. Click. I close the door as they drag him off. And Randall goes, apologies, mistress. Your son got a little unruly and slipped the grasp. She goes, how did he get the coffin open? Warlock magic. And the locked doors into the basement? Warlock magic. And all the way through the secret entrance, through the secret passages, warlock magic.
I don't think that's going. I don't think all that's going to be warlock magic.
You'd be surprised. He did a lot of things with that warlock magic. And you see the Duchess just go, Randall, if you have to, stake him into his coffin. As you command, your grace. And he
is he going to escape via warlock magic?
I don't know. He's just being really unruly, and he got all the way up to the room just as the Death Knights were like chasing after him. It only took 2 to subdue him. She has 6.
Good point.
Yeah, they only have like X number of fucking spell slots, and he probably used them just to get away.
That is definitely something.
He didn't have any spell slots left.
Yeah, that's definitely something I have to ask Mr. Creve when he gets here tomorrow.
I mean, Creed?
Yeah. You're. Oh, boy.
I'm sure eventually he'll get his name right. You'll only sailed with him for years.
Yep.
I don't know why I'm fucking up now. We ran this campaign for 2 years. I'm now fucking up his name.
The Duchess looks to you and says, I apologize for Nikolai. He's been very unruly lately.
I'm
He doesn't
sorry.
want to listen anymore. Thinks he's a big,
No.
strong man now. He can't accept that he'll always be my little boy.
Trust me.
Little
It's called.
boy who needs to be disciplined.
It's called teenage rebellion. Whether you're how
I
long
would have
you been?
thought he would have gone through that rebellious phase back, over a century ago. But I guess he just reverted back.
A century? Oh damn! How long you been a vampire?
Are you asking a lady her age?
No. I'm just.
Dr. S's head just like spins right to looking at the captain so fast you swear you hear an audible click.
I back up like my apologies.
Think nothing of it. I tease, but my children are much older than they appear, as well as I do. We are, as vampires, timeless entities.
The antenna beauty.
I like to believe. Out of my trash can. I'll beat this cat. But she will say, but I would very much love if he was no longer contracted to this devil creature and thus not able to disobey me so easily.
Or lose his warlock powers.
Keep magic. I don't care. It's the disobedience that is unacceptable.
Well, Apollo Creed. So okay. All right. So hopefully, Mr. Creed will be in tomorrow. Will be in tomorrow to help us with that.
Let us hope.
Yep.
If necessary, I of course can also contact Pyrrha, or Lady Helgate, as you know her as a resident of Hell. She also, as well as a lawyer, also has great insight in how contracts work with infernal beings. So,
How about
possibly able to find out who he is contracted with. I have not contacted her yet, though.
how about we send them to work together? The more brains, the more brains, the better.
I will have a message sent. I will have a missive sent to her to see if she's available to join us tomorrow. What time will your associate be arriving?
Hopefully, he gets the messages and understands. Hopefully, he gets the messages and understands. I want to be there by 6 to 7. By by at least 6 to 7 o'clock. So by the time you wake up as well.
Excellent. We can meet in the. 1 second. Yes, we can adjourn to the tea room towards the front of the house. It's a small and cozy area, good for close, intimate conversations, as well as privacy. We can adjourn there at that beginning of the evening.
That would be a very, very good idea, indeed.
fact, if I'm not mistaken, Irina's in there currently with Alice.
Then let me go greet them then, if you excuse me.
Of course. And she goes back to playing the organ.
And I bow my head in respect and say, "Have a lovely evening, Your Duchess, Your Grace."
You as well, Doctor. Dr. Ice, you are quickly greeted from this door when it opens. Mira comes rushing in. She kind of rushes past the captain, and she runs over and she goes, "I need you!" and grabs your arms.
Oh, sorry.
Come with me!
Sorry.
And she drags you off somewhere.
Duty calls.
And she drags you around here. Eh. 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 Eh.
The hell was that about?
And she runs you over here.
Follow-up update.
Eh. And you see Edmund at a long work table in what appears to be a small workshop. And you see on the walls there's various blueprints of different things. Edmund, you've noticed in conversing with him before, he's a bit of a scholar, and he seems to be a bit of an inventor, intellectual type. And this becomes very prominent as you walk into his little workshop. He's got various little blueprints and building plans of various different contraptions of varying different designs and purposes. Chemical formulas, his workshop, or his workbench has various alchemical paraphernalia as well as engineering type paraphernalia and various other devices as you walk in. And Mira goes, I got him. And he goes, all right, Mira, calm down. I apologize for her rambunctiousness. But when she heard that I would need to study the design of your wings in order to reproduce anything mechanical, she immediately ran off before I could tell her to not rudely drag you in here.
No problem.
You would not mind, I would love to examine your wings.
Of course. And
This area is a little small, so perhaps we can do this outside where you can show me your full wingspan.
alrighty.
And he steps out into the courtyard. With their Death Knight just standing in the courtyard, just with his sword point down to the ground, just...
Before I step out, I grab Lady Mira's hand and repeat nuzzle for when we next meet.
She hasn't left. She's out in the courtyard with you.
All right.
And presumably you open your wings to their full span.
Absolutely.
He takes some lens spectacles that the kind of spectacles jewelers wear that has multiple lenses on them. And he kind of he looks at the bone structure, he looks at the plumage, and he goes, and these are your flight feathers, right? These are the feathers you have to have in order to actually achieve flight, correct?
That is correct.
I see. And they are associated here and here. He pulls a small tape measure and just, measures them, and he measures the full length of your wings. And he starts asking you questions like how much, how you fly and stuff like that. The mechanics behind your flight, things that you've been doing instinctively your entire life. He's asking for detailed scientific explanations of, which is difficult because he asks questions that you don't understand how to answer. And it's a back and forth where he tries to find a way to ask the question in a way you can understand it, so you can give him the answer that he's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're essentially talking to a very erudite, genius level intellectual type person, and your character's from the jungle.
Yep.
And flight's just who you are. Like the wings are the wings. You've always known how to fly from a young instinctively from a young age, and he's trying to like break it down in the sciences of it. And you're like, I don't understand all your engineering terms you're throwing at me. What does that mean?
But he does his best to answer to the best of his ability.
And he like measures the length of your wings. He asks you questions like how difficult it is for you to take off from a like a standing from a neutral standing position. Do you need running starts? Is it easier to jump down from an elevated position or to take off from the ground? Various stuff like that as he figures out how flight works.
And again, Dr. Ice answers everything to the best of his ability. Which with a 17 intelligence is pretty good.
High intelligence. So once he starts using terminology that you actually understand or actually know what it means, it becomes quite easily conversed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what your next several minutes are spent doing.
Yep.
Or you can show him how you fly.
Do what?
Show him how his wings moves.
Yeah, eventually, like he has to do like quick like hops and like test like short flights and whatnot. That's why they're all in the courtyard rather than in his workshop, because the workshop's only like this big.
Yep.
But it looked like you guys eventually made your way to the How to Fly. Flying 101 for Dummies. Eventually made your way towards the tea room or sitting room or whatever the fuck it's called, where Irina happens to be. Captain Torg, I assume you walked into the room and I saw our. Oh, there he is. Yeah, you walk in just in time to see Irina with a mouthful of Alice's arm.
Ooh,
She's like over
is
next
this
door,
a
and she's
is this a bad time?
no, of course not. We just weren't expecting company.
No.
She like licks the wound clean real fast. And Alice gently stands up and moves to the side of the room, providing a place for you guys to sit. He goes, "What do I owe the pleasure of you joining me with your esteemed company?"
I guess it's mostly just small talk, like.
You're welcome to join me for any small talk. Would you like some refreshments? I can have Alice go get some for you.
No, another glass of wine, if you please.
She curtsies and says, "Right away, son."
So you're the oldest. So you're one of the oldest of this bunch.
I am the middle daughter.
Ah,
Mira is the baby of the family, and Zarya is the second eldest, I believe. I don't recall. Mother turned Zarya and Klaus around about the same time, so I don't know which one's older, but I know they're the eldest. I was turned much later, sometime afterwards, and then Edmund came after me about a few decades. Mira is like I said, was the last one.
so technically she's the I guess the baby of the family.
Yes, she is the baby of the family. She quite acts like it too. She never quite grew up, so to speak. She's always been a young child at heart, with her endless enthusiasm for life and existence. As you
Endless.
hear her outside go, make some kind of squeal noises, something is said, or done or otherwise, and you hear her like giggling out in the courtyard.
Endless enthusiasm.
And then Nikolai was the most is the youngest son, second youngest of all of us.
Yeah, what? Yeah, has he been always like this, or is a recent development?
He has, well, what should I say? He's always been mildly resentful of being turned, or rather, the circumstances around his turning. I can't speak much on that. I wasn't there, and that's a
Private matter.
when one becomes a vampire, the moment of turning is a private affair and shouldn't be discussed amongst strangers, by strangers, or shouldn't be discussed by others. You'd have to talk to Nikolai directly if you wanted to get more detail on his turning.
Yeah, just
But
yeah,
he's
there's like
always had
yeah.
issues
Unfortunately,
around the circumstances surrounding it.
unfortunately,
And
the only way he's gonna talk to me is in werewolf form, and after a very long beatdown. So, no
I mean,
offense, I want
I'll
to.
tell you what, if you figure out a way to get down into the basement where he's being held, I won't tell Mother. Unless she asks me, of course, and then I have to.
No, because if I had to fight Nikolai, I'm going to fight him to the death. I'm sorry. I don't want. I want.
That's not trying to kill him. But to continue answering your question, he wishes to become a full vampire lord rather than just a vampire spawn. The only way to do that is by drinking Mother's blood. A spawn, in order to upgrade to a lord, has to drink the blood of their sire, which in Nikolai's case is our mother Sophia. He can't do so unless she allows him to, or normally wouldn't be able to do so, but his little contract pact that he's created has somehow suppressed her control of them. As a spawn, we are required to obey every order that she gives us, and he's always found that distasteful. We can't tell her no. Unless she allows us to tell her no.
And
Mother can be very domineering sometimes if you are less than cooperative.
she wants a power, but isn't willing to work to get it.
She doesn't want to let go of her son, and her son doesn't want to be her spawn anymore. It's been an issue for the last several years. It's caused a bit of a falling out with between the two of them. They used to get along much nicer. It used to be, I wouldn't say happier, but less unpleasant about his issues. His issues used to be more manageable. Let's say that. He used to manage better. He very desperately doesn't want to. He very desperately wants to be his own person and go do his own vampire lord stuff. Mother doesn't like creating rivals.
A rebellious son versus a parent. Yep, his tale is all his time.
Well, here in the vampire realm, one of the most oldest tales is how vampire lords are made. Like I said, the vampire spawn has to consume some of her blood to break the bond of spawn and fledglingdom, allowing him to become his own vampire lord in his own right and power. But many people think that we vampires fear things like clerics carrying stakes and righteous paladins storming our lairs. Those are mild annoyances from time to time. No, the real problem that vampires don't like is having other vampire lords in their area. So most vampires don't let their spawns become lords because that creates rivals. This is why Mother has told him no.
That makes sense. It's like,
Why create more competition when you're the top vampire in the area?
it's like,
There used to be another vampire lord in the area, part of the Tsar family. Interesting enough, he died to his spawn. We're not sure how that happened. We never got the full info on it.
Tsar family. Why did I?
Old family murdered a long time ago. Apparently, a man named Cazador survived, and we discovered and he was eventually discovered to be a vampire. He was less open about his situation. It was discovered when a bunch of Gur left his place after apparently murdering him or helping one of his spawn murder him. We never got all the details on it. There's a lot of sketchy information about that. It's quite the scandal though when Cazador Czar of all people was murdered in his own home.
Interesting.
We were very interested in finding out about who killed him because if somebody's running around killing vampires, we're very much interested. But as we said, it turned out it was apparently his spawn and some other adventurers that had a issue with him. That was on the complete other side of the city.
I was about to say
very far.
I would say a dojo versus. I was about to say, so someone to a dojo and a dojo destroyer. Someone whose job is to run the dojo to defeat the master and claim the dojo for himself, or in this case, claim the house for himself.
Possible, but that was on the far side of the far other side of the city, so not too close to our estate. Therefore, we didn't cross paths with the Zaw family very often. He was not a very pleasant man.
Like I said,
I met him once. He was very rude. This is back when he was still alive.
Oh, by the way, welcome back, Daniel. How's the baby?
We put her down for a nap. She's cranky and sweepy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we saw in some of the pictures that you sent that she was being less than cooperative about her lunch.
1 second.
Actually, that was cooperative for her.
Oh, really?
Hey, what's up? Nothing much, just my video game. Yeah.
Eventually, Alice returns with refreshments.
Ooh, refreshments.
Yes. How are you, Daniel?
He'll carry that.
Since you're sitting at the docks,
You had to set up a table like that.
hanging out, doing your thing. Eventually, you while on the ship, just hanging out, you eventually see someone walking down the docks with a lantern, and and going down the docks, looking at different names of ships, like he's looking at like the names of the side of the ships. He's like holding the lantern out, and he goes,
"Oh yeah."
He looks like he's got a piece of paper, and he's like looking at it, and he's looking at the name of a ship, like several berths down, and he goes, nope. He like moves to the next one. Nope. And he's like slowly working his way down the docks. Eventually, he gets to right where your ship is, and he kind of like looks at the end of the ship, looks down at the paper, and goes. And he seems to have found what he's looking for as he looks around. Are you being hidden at this moment, or are you standing overtly where someone could see you if they looked?
If they look, they'll see me. I usually sit on the railing fishing when I'm not doing anything.
And he calls out to you and goes, "Hail, good sir. Are you by chance a member of the Stormbreaker crew? Is this here your ship?"
It is not my ship, but I am one of its crew.
I am here to deliver a message to a Mr. Melloc Creed of the Stormbreaker.
Why? I value my stomach.
By
Oh, really?
chance, you know who that is, or if he is here at this time, or where I might find him.
I will stand up and kind of jump from the ship, flying down, still hold my fishing pole as I try to reel in my fish
Just get Wendy's.
to land beside him. I am Mr. Creed.
Ah, good. I have a message to deliver to you, sir. Praise be the absolute. Then he stabs you. No, just kidding. Little joke there for
Go for it.
That's more of a joke for Jim Pan. Because when I said I have a message for so-and-so, it made me think of Tribbles the Clown. I have an extra special message for them. Praise be the absolute. Blink Dog Molly.
Yeah.
Sorry, jokes aside. He pulls out a letter and hands it to you.
Well, it's bad nacho cheese. It's so bad.
And it is the message that that Captain Torg wrote, informing you that he wishes for you to come to the Casimir estate at around 5, 6 in the evening.
This would be late at night. All right, so it would technically be the next day when he
Yeah,
wants
it'll be
me
the
to
next
know.
evening. Is the message is delivered to you now, but the timing is for like the next evening.
Okay.
At this point, it's like midnight.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once, and I will I will nod to him, tuck it into my belt, while still maintaining trying to catch my fish. I'll fly back up to my perch and sit back down and
Give
really.
me. What am I looking for? Give me a dexterity check with your proficiency bonus, since you are a proficient fisherman. To try to see if you can actually pull off these maneuvers you're doing. See if you can actually try and catch that damn fish while also doing other stuff, like moving and flying and whatnot.
24.
Easily maintained. That fish ain't going anywhere. Only a matter of time before he gives up the fight and you reel him in, just like always.
It's what I do.
And the courier nods after he delivers it and says, "Well, good evening, sir," and then turns and just wanders off into the darkness.
Once I reel the fish in, I will then set the pole down, because a good fisherman never releases the pole while he has a fish on the line. He may lose his pole.
Yes, that is true.
Then I'll read the message.
Those are annoying to have to go get new ones. Because, when you break one in, and it's like it's your fishing pole, and then you lose it, you got to go get a new one. You're just like, ugh,
Exactly.
terrible. Don't want to have to use a brand new fucking pole. I like their pole.
I will read the message and acknowledge it, putting it back into my belt, and continuing to fish. And any drow that wants to fish with me are welcome to, and I will help them
There's a
fish.
little next to you that's also fishing.
I teach fishing.
The watch the guys watching the ship are a little bit more lax while in port than they would be if you were since they're on shore leave. Like, they're keeping an eye out. It's one of those things, like, they're watching, but it's less like if somebody really wanted to sneak up onto the ship, they probably could. But they're still like looking around, so they're not gonna have like free reign of the ship. It's one of those things where like they do like the occasional, like, they glance around, make sure there's nobody wandering around on the ship or doing something they're not supposed to do, and then they return their attention back to the fishing.
Yeah, I teach night fishing. I teach night fishing to the drow. I have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
And it works on my undercommon.
You like, one of them goes, this guy's annoying. Here, let me show you how we do it. Let me show you how we used to do it back in Chednefe with cave fish. And he pulls out like a fucking crossbow and like ties a line to it and just. Hi, I got him. And he just reels in this like flapping fish with like a fucking harpoon dart through it. And he goes, ha, ha.
Yes, but that does not go for the fight.
He goes, fuck the fight, I'm hungry. And he takes his fish and he goes off to the kitchen to go make him a meal. I'm gonna go clean and cook this. Deuces, losers. Y'all bitches have fun doing it the hard way.
As I have pile of fish up because I am a decent fish, probably the best fisherman on the crew.
Most likely.
Yep. I mean, I'm a good fisherman. It's just that I end up eating the fish as I catch them. In wild shape form.
Or the fish end up fighting back. They slap the shit out of you. Just imagine, like, Dr. I's trying to fish. He gets the fish, he pulls it up, and he's like, I got one. And he just goes, pah, 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 and, like, takes off, and he's just like, don't touch it. Yeah. And he goes, I had one. All savage ejected.
You may be a fisherman, but I remember, my background is fisherman, unlike the rest of y'all. This is what my guy does.
Yep.
It is part of his background.
So I am the best fisherman for a reason. And if I want to cook the fish as I do, I cast lightning lure on them to pull them towards me and cook them at the same time.
Do a lightning fry.
Hold on.
Why did I come back to Creed doing a lightning fry?
Wrong character. Wrong character. I don't have lightning lure. That's the wrong character. I have shocking grasp. So as soon as it comes near me, I just tap it with shocking grasp and throw it.
The air is filled with the smell of smelly fish and ozone as you electrify some of them. Beautiful combinations of smells. Eventually, you happen to glance over, and like several of the drow have like wrapped bandanas around their mouth, around like their face and nose, because like that combination of smell probably smells awful. I'm not gonna lie, it probably smells horrific.
Actually, I probably wouldn't do it that much because that ruins the flavor of the fish anyhow.
Probably,
Overcooking.
who knows?
But if they're bad fish that aren't worth eating, I will shocking
even
grasp
the
them.
fish are still smelly fish. They smell bad. Like people, I personally don't go fishing in the real world, but I've heard enough stories to know that like areas where fish hang out, fishing ports, stuff like that, it smells bad. Fish smell gross. I love the smell of cooked fish, but I don't smell a lot of like raw, flappy fish that just hang out inside the ocean that you pull and put on the dock. But everyone who's ever been near docks talks about how smelly the fishy smells are.
Oh, we also play Mage Hand Fish Throw with Izil.
Oh boy.
Sure, he'd be.
Let me check see if Izil's actually on the ship at the moment. He is. He's not out for like a walk or something like that. He's at the ship, and he snatches them out of the air. Has a great time doing it. At one point, somebody slips, and the fish actually goes back into the water, and Izil just goes, jumps down in the water. He comes back up with back up with a fish, but it's a completely different fish. You don't know where he found the other fish. Like, that's not the fish we threw. And he's like, it's not? Oh. Can I eat this anyway? And they're like, sure.
Sonya gets a fish every once in a while in her bucket that sits next to me.
Little tentacles come up, wrap around the fish, and just... Sonya seems to have a penchant for wanting to snap to the neck of things. It doesn't crush them, it just grabs them and just...
Sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. And that's what I do most of the night.
You hear a few drunken sailors like in like the berth over go, "That's all that racket." A couple of your guys are like, "None of your fucking business. Fuck off." Like, "You fuck off." "No, you fuck off." Quick fuck off competition, and then of argument that like dies down over like after like 30, 40 seconds. Occasionally comes up. "Fuck you, no fuck you, no fuck you. Oh yeah, fuck you, yeah, fuck me." Wait. Not too drunk. No. And then just go back to sleep.
So I missed it. Did they get the leather?
Yeah, he got the letter. He was the courier was most efficient in ensuring that it was delivered.
Intimidation 22. Shut up and go back to sleep. I'm fishing here.
You scare him back into sober. You scare him back into sobriety. Like, "It's the devil of the bay, run!" He trips over some rope. You see it shit into the ground. Goes knocked out cold. Oh, goes, "Oh my god, the devil of the bay just killed Jim!"
The devil of the bay. Oh boy.
Bring it. They're drunk.
Exactly. I don't know what they're talking about.
Let them come bother me.
With a mild headache and some bruises from their own self-inflicted nonsense.
Let them come bother me while I'm fishing. I will get angry. I will get serious.
Serious. Why so serious, son?
And I have a garbage disposal with me.
I assume we mean the human, a living garbage disposal.
That's the one. Izil will clean them up for me.
I'm super duper cereal.
Oh boy.
I love all these little memes you guys like to post during the game. Great. It's like a little side game that we play. Only we get to see. As far as I know, it doesn't show up in the recording very often.
Nah.
I don't know how you do your capture software.
No, everyone can see. Everyone can see the thing as well. So.
All right. So
fun game.
time passes for me.
Yes, time does pass. And in fact, I think this is a great opportunity to close the session, ladies and gentlemen. Oop. Not a whole lot happened this session, but we had some fun roleplay.
And at least we start to get the bottom of some things.
Yep. Next session, you'll get to have a lovely meeting with about warlocks and contracts.
Warlocks, contracts, and exploding humans. Oh my!
So current objectives are help break an infernal contract. Possibly go fuck up a warehouse and find some cultists who worship cultists and or agent thralls that worship and or work for Aboleths. They're bad. They're bad, okay?
Oh boy.
So we like them, okay? Isn't that right, children? Yes, Mr. McIntyre. That's high level down. No, I think we'll keep him at his current level for now. Mira levels up. She levels up in she gained 1 level in NPC development because at one point she may have mechanical wings. Like one day you'll see Mira like flying through the air with like fucking fucking bird wing gliders. As Edmund's like, it works! My invention to create flight works! I'm a genius.
Yep.
Wait, does tide level down? What the hell?
You just now realizing what we're discussing now?
I'm sorry. I went out to get a friend called. I went out to get lunch real quick.
Super duper cereal. I love dynamic lighting, especially when there's at least one person that doesn't have dark vision in the party, and it's just every once in a while fun to just be like, I wonder what Kiri could see. And I look at Kiri, and it's like just darkness, and he's just, where am I? What's going on? What's happening?
Yep.
Daniel, hi, Simon, is that you? I hope that's you. I don't know if that's you. I don't think that's him. Can't see shit.
And so happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember, if you can't see them, they can't see you.
Exactly.
Only kill you if you can see them.
Exactly.
Fucking horror movie logic for you. If I don't look at it, it can't kill me.
Unless it's a weeping angel.
Or Freddy Krueger.
And in which case, you never look away.
And they kill you in the nicest way possible.
They send you back in time and steal all of your future potential.
Exactly. So you still get to live, just in a different time frame.
In a different time frame. I think like the average they send you back is like anywhere between 50 to 100 years.
Just think about that. Think of the knowledge you'd have. You could live better than the people around you.
If you're good at history and you get sent during just the right time, and you make smart investments.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I get set back in time far enough to where like the Apple Corporation is still just a small like hodunk town place. You buy a stock in it when it's like 50 cents, and then when you become an old person, it's worth like $10 billion worth of stock. But that was kind of a friend that he knew back in the day that his like grandma bought stock in like the local electronics store, which later became Apple, as well as bought stock in the local and this was like 70 years ago in the local the local food place, which turned out to be Heinz. Like these later became like multi-billion-dollar companies, and that she bought stock in like 70 years ago when it was like 40 cents of stock, and now those stocks are worth like $10 billion.
Not only that, but think of
Damn, she got lucky.
Think of gambling. You know, there's someone who gambles on presidential elections, World Series.
You can make so much money because you already know what the answer is.
Imagine if. Oh, and sad thing is, I just watched the opening of Super Bowl 42. I forgot which one. Where the Giants took down the Patriots when they were like.
People bet on sports events that's like millions of dollars worth of gambling.
But imagine how much money. Imagine how much money you would have made if you bet on a Giant where the Patriots were undefeated.
You already know the answers, yeah.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to bet a lot, because if you bet too much, then they think the game was rigged. You just bet.
But if you already know the answers, then you can. If you know that the winner is like a long shot and it has like really good odds of like a return investment, like 10-1 odds, you can make a lot of bank with only a little bit.
Yeah, because
You
obviously
pick the dark horses of the gambling because you already know who's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
it's literally like the almanac of Back to the Future 2.
Pretty much, like we just talked about, like we just it's essentially the plot of Back to the Future.
So yeah, investments,
Biff,
betting.
I think his name was Biff, got like filthy fucking rich because he took the sports magazine back into time and just started making certain bets and investments and things, and so he won a bunch shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had like, what was it, over a decade worth of like sports events results, like horse races, football games, baseball
World
games, stuff like that.
Series.
It was over like a decade or so or more, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like a magazine of like all of like the winners of like the last decade or something. So he had like 10 years worth, like 10 years plus worth of sports information that he could just bet on because he already knew the outcomes. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
If we found a way to hack life and get shit tons of money. Wouldn't that be nice? Not have to work anymore.
I would.
Like if we knew that Apple was going to be a big deal, or the infamous GameStop debacle.
Yeah.
Or go into Bitcoin at the beginning and then pull out before everything went to you know what.
But then you'd have to worry about if you went to if you go back far enough, you get dropped in at the beginning of a war.
Yeah, that would be that. It's all a matter of timing on like what time period you would end up being dropped in, as well as like what your knowledge of that time period is. Because it doesn't help being sent back in time if you aren't a student of history and you're in a place where either nothing eventful happens that you can exploit, or it's during, or you just don't know anything about that time period. Like if you weren't somebody who knows anything about World War II and suddenly you're in 1941, you're like, well, shit.
Well, shit.
I know at least some of the outcomes, so I can at least work my way around somewhere.
Like, oh shit, I just got drafted.
Yeah.
They can't draft you. They can't draft you.
Right, they can't, because technically you don't exist. In order to draft you, you have to be a citizen. In order to be a citizen, you have to have an actual record of birth in the United States, which means your birth doesn't exist because it hasn't happened yet. So you're a ghost. You're a record ghost. There's no record of your existence.
So you've at least got to find a way of earning a little money to start your scheme.
Or bring some back.
The way that back in the day worked is that people dealt in more direct cash a lot more than they do nowadays. Nowadays,
just bring some cash with you as long as it's from the right century.
Well, I mean, our currency hasn't changed that much over the last 100 so years, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, if it's in America, obviously, it works great. If you're in a European country, I think their currency has changed drastically over their existences.
Yes. The United States, it has changed some. So if you were to go back 100 years, your currency probably wouldn't be worth anything. It would be looking like a forgery.
Yeah, it would look like a counterfeit.
Mm-hmm.
A really good counterfeit, but still counterfeit.
Yep.
That being said, with just a little bit of skill, you could probably get everything you need in working money and go from there.
That's what I mean, because the way things operated once upon a time, people will deal in more cash than they do electronically. So you don't need to have a bank account to like work somewhere. You just go get like a small job somewhere that pays in cash. Work for a few weeks, get a little bit of spending cash, and then you can use that to start exploiting your historical knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Put some investments in the right places and just let that thing grow. And hopefully not create a butterfly effect.
Oh
yes,
yeah. You have to gotta be careful of that as well.
or that, or a time paradox.
So
You
don't
create
sleep
a
with your family members.
you create a time paradox.
Oh,
Do.
definitely. If you had to go back in time, always check names. Always check names and who they are.
Yeah, you
These
don't want to be
you should
banging.
study
You
family history, look at old photos, so that when you see those people, you go, "You look like that one woman I saw on my grandma's wall." What's your name? Who's your daddy? Do you have a kid? What's their name? Tell me about your family. Cool. You're my great grandmother. Not fucking you tonight. Definitely not. I'm gonna go fuck someone else.
Yeah, you tell that to the woman. You'll be in the loony bin.
Well, no, don't tell her that, obviously. There are more tactful ways to find out about that, because like a lot of people like to talk about their families, especially back then. So it's kind of like, yeah, you got kids? Oh yeah, tell me about your parents. Uh-huh. What's your name again? Cool. Check against family history. Yeah, definitely don't want to fuck them. Or since you're never going to go back to your original time frame. Fuck it. Do whatever. Fuck the whole time stream up.
Until the time cops come after you.
Take over the time cops. Stop right there. Time force. Yeah, go back in time, join the Nazis, tell Hitler how to win the war. Like, no. You don't want to send your guys over there. Trust me. You don't want to send your guys. You want to send your guys over here. Just looking out for you there, big man. Yeah, that reminds me of what was it? What was the movie called? It was the Bill and Ted one. I don't remember the name of that particular movie. I just remember like they were talking like Attila the Hun or something like that, or Genghis Khan. No, it was Genghis Khan, and he was like plotting out his like invasion of Rome or whatever.
I was a Bill Ched's excellent.
He just goes, I don't think you're gonna win that fight.
I would
I
say
think you're gonna lose. And he just goes.
I would say Bill and Ched's Excellent Adventure, Bonus Journey, and Face the Music. So it's one of those three movies.
You don't fuck with time, motherfucker.
Oh, I'm gonna go start getting some lunch ready. Have a good day, everyone.
You guys have going. I'll see you next time.
All right.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Deuces.